me to do it?
Yeah, bitch.
Okay. Hold up. My phone. I want to turn my phone off real quick. Just in case I get any unexpected calls. Airplane mode. Fuck it. It's already off. All right.
He hates his girlfriend.
Anyways, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 6th episode of the Lost and Talks podcast. We're back with the crew here for another amazing episode. We got a lot of topics we're going to be talking about tonight. Like always, no guests.
Do we really?
We do. We got a couple, like a few, a handful. Okay, some stuff's happening.
It's more like 3 guys.
Yeah, there's like 3 solid topics plus whatever the fuck we go on a
As
tangent
always.
in between. You know, typically we go on a few tangents. So when there's no guests tonight, but it's just us 3. You know,
I hope you guys can deal with that.
Yeah.
And Zach, of course.
Shout out, we got Zach behind the camera.
Whose presence is actually more felt than ours at the end of it because he controls our audio and our
He really does
video.
control everything.
Yeah.
Like he can cut. He can just cut half the shit we say if he really wanted to. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut this part out. Fuck him.
Fuck them all.
Fuck them all. Anyways, we're gonna quick introductions. My name's Ian McGilvery. I am director of operations at Lost Nostalgia. I am a video director and producer, and I have an Instagram. Follow me at Ian.McGilvery.
We're gonna do this every time.
I was just about to ask.
Real quick.
When are we gonna stop doing
Because I was
this?
thinking,
think-
is there gonna be a part where like I
think we
so we could get to a point where like right now we don't have anything coming up, but like in a month or 2 we're gonna have some 750 and some solo
Facts.
stuff coming up. So it could be like a couple months from now,
Big
it could
boy,
be like,
bro.
hey, I'm Kevin.
was
Hey,
that?
I got this video coming out. And, you know, maybe we could do that.
Yeah,
But we didn't like.
I was gonna tell you guys that the last one, Kevin was like when Ian was started introducing it, you're like, oh, we're gonna do that again.
So I guess we're not gonna do that.
So this is probably the last time.
This is the last time.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fair. Yeah, that's fine.
Is it?
I think.
Is it fair?
I think because we're starting to, get some.
I mean, there's
listeners
always
now,
gonna be
so-
We're
new-
actually
Listen,
getting a few listeners now.
There's
Yeah.
always
It's
gonna
actually
be
pretty
new
lit.
listeners every
Yeah.
episode.
We don't expect them to always
So-
come back to episode 1, so we'll.
That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, either way, Zach has the shit popping up at the bottom.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's true. Like, I mean, I think it's fine. If we make it quick, like we're already dragging it on too long right now. We should be.
Well, this is part of the podcast. We have to eat up time.
That's like
here.
that's one of the topics. You know.
Fair
like,
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you need
podcast.
to always introduce yourself
Yeah.
in
Do
these?
you always need to introduce yourself for your podcast?
Yeah.
Do
No.
you? Not in detail, at least. We should say our names at least.
I appreciate us doing it. But yeah, I was literally thinking as Ian was speaking, I'm like, I wonder how long we're gonna keep doing
Yeah.
this. I was gonna say maybe we should just do this up until like episode 10, but at the same time,
Yeah.
no, it's gonna end today.
Okay.
Today's
Alright,
it.
and it's
Do you
on
want to get
episode 6.
your last intro in?
Yeah, I guess. Fuck. Not really though, but. So moving forward, fuck it. Yeah, my name is Kevin. I go by the name of Kevin A. 750 Ram. You can find Tropic is an EP that just came out. You can find R&B 2, and you can find the Passive video are all things that have recently just come out. More things are going to be coming up, and hopefully we can talk about that rather than what we've done now. You know?
Yeah, yo. I was gonna say, just before my intro, we should also do an episode. Even though I'm just talking to you guys about this right now, or not an episode, but one of our segments just should be even just how we got into all of our shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just so that people can, relate.
Like an origin story episode.
The origin stories.
So
you know what
far,
I mean?
what
That's
we've
fair because
done.
I mean we can't assume that like I don't know if we've even talked. Maybe on the first episode we mentioned the fact that he was like my next door neighbor.
Yeah, we've mentioned
And
it a couple times.
Maybe I don't know, but like
we should tell the origin stories.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah.
And we're probably gonna have to tell
Probably
the
should get
origin
Sam
story
for that one, too.
Probably gonna tell the origin story multiple times. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like every year, at least
But
once
that's what I'm
a
saying.
year.
We should just do the origin story just so it's out there.
Get it out the way.
If mans listen to it, they listen.
If you
don't,
want to know about us, just go back to episode whatever.
Yeah.
fuck them.
Fuck them.
Yo, I'm
yeah.
Jamal. Jamal.b on Instagram. JAMYLE
That spells it.
.b. You'll see it down below about
It's gonna.
now.
Yeah.
Also 750 Black God. 750. I'm out here in the streets, man. But not really.
You see the hockey jersey.
Oh yeah, true. I got the hockey jersey on today.
I should fire though.
Yeah, man. We
never
wanted
got-
to get the baseball.
I never got one.
The baseball jerseys are gonna be nasty
Yeah.
when we get those. But right now we just got the
pinstripe,
hockeys. The pinstripes.
Why no ball jerseys though?
Because it's just played
Is it
out.
too played out? Okay, that's what I thought.
Every
feel like
fucking man.
that's what
has
I'm
a ball
thinking.
jersey.
Yeah.
Or like a hoodie. I mean, a hoodie's
What?
a hoodie's classic.
but had nothing to do with sports.
I'm just gonna say most mans go for the merch. Most mans go straight to the hoodie, but you guys went to the hockey jersey, which is like a different move.
Well,
So I think that's cool.
Do we have any 750 fans listening? What do you want the next merch?
Yeah, you let us know.
Because we don't actually have any public merch. What do you want me to wear next? Basically,
Yeah,
is what I'm
we don't have
asking.
any public
chain.
merch.
What do you want to see
We got
us
the
wearing
chain.
in
I
the
want
next
Smitty's
video?
chain.
We got the 750
want that
chains.
one.
I'm trying to cop mine soon. I'm trying to cop mine for my birthday, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to get my 750 gear. So you guys, let us know what 750 gear you want us to rock, not you, because you'll probably never get it.
Yeah.
Because you don't listen to our music.
Exactly.
But I'm not salty.
Shit.
Anyways, this is the Lost in Talks podcast, the most lit podcast. Was I doing the Kennedy Road one?
Yeah.
The most lit podcast past Kennedy Road.
Way past Kennedy Road. Yeah.
Way past Kennedy
Way
Road.
past Kennedy Road.
Yeah. 401 Morningside. All of that. East End, Markham Road. All of that. It's a good segue into
Where
this
the
guy's
real
face
ones
here.
are, which is our next topic.
This guy's murdering this shit. This guy's killing me right now.
So it's the anniversary, or it was a few days ago. Was it 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Yeah.
6 years and 2 days ago, Drake dropped Nothing Was the Same. And truly, nothing was the same. For me personally, this was the Drake album that got me hooked.
Yeah.
I was a hater before.
Wow.
I didn't believe in him that much.
Yeah, me too. We used to just sit down and hate on Drake a lot.
We used to hate on
Really?
Drake a lot because I was like, I get his appeal, but it's just not for me right now. And then Nothing Was the Same came out, and that was the time where I was like,
No New Friends set the, what would you call it? The pregame, the preseason where you're like, wait a second, is he?
yeah.
You're like,
it looks
hold
like
on.
he's gonna be good this year.
Yeah, and then Nothing Was the Same came out.
Nothing Was the Same came out, and that was the project that really set me on my not love, but my appreciation for Mr. Aubrey Graham.
Yeah.
I was bumping it earlier today. I bumped the whole deluxe album, and if you just really listen to that album, that shit's hard as fuck, man. Tracks back to back to back. There's great features on here. We got Janae Aiko.
Some features you don't hear too much anymore.
You know?
I want to hear them come out. I want to hear some Janae.
We got some
Like-
Majid.
That shit. Majid,
shit.
sorry, is a classic, of course. That song's great.
We got Jay-Z, 2 Chainz, Big Sean.
Great Jay-Z verse.
And a great Jay-Z verse.
That is a great one.
One of his better
Great
ones.
2 Chainz verse. Great Big Sean verse. Underrated Sean verse.
Very underrated Sean verse.
well, not underrated maybe, but
I
very
think a
good,
lot of
though.
Sean is
Yeah.
underrated, actually.
No.
No? You don't think so?
No.
Come
Big
on.
Sean's not even like...
That's why it's like that's
That's
a good,
the one
that was a
verse
good
from Big Sean where I was like, oh, okay. Like, I
Yeah.
could actually
Okay.
listen to this.
yeah.
Sure. I just think he doesn't get
Oh,
enough
shut the
appreciation
fuck
sometimes.
up. Yeah.
At a point in
was hard.
time,
That's what I mean.
Big Sean was top 5.
Yeah. I would put
In
him,
the game
I
at
would
the
put
moment
him there
in time.
at one point. He was, yeah.
I think it was even around this time when this project dropped. I think
That's
he was
what I'm
around. He
thinking.
was one of the tops in the
Yeah,
game.
I don't know about now, but we have to think about it. But
No, Big Sean. He hasn't dropped one in like 2 years. But
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to talk about him.
Yeah.
we're sorry. We're talking about Drake. Let's go back.
Let's
to
get
that.
back to Drizzy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Did you guys have any favorites off of the album? Anything that touched you personally?
Just going back, Wu-Tang Forever definitely always stands out. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I ever think about that album, that's the one that I always think about. I forgot that The Motion was on there and Come Through. Those are
Motion.
on the
standouts.
deluxe only.
Yeah.
On the deluxe, yeah. Because it
Those are
confused
standouts
me
for me.
because the Motion was on this album, but it was dropped on Care Package recently, so I was a little confused. I'm like, wait a second. Oh, okay, that was.
Yeah.
Oh, Nothing Was the Same. Yeah, I like the Motion. I like Pound Cake. That one.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Great
dope.
song.
Pound Cake's sick.
Too Much is a good song. The whole album
Yeah,
is
honestly,
solid.
like, yeah. They're Tuscan Leather. Like, these are great songs. Like, there's a lot of great songs on there.
Well, let's talk about. I don't know if Ian's gonna know enough about this one, so me and Kevin might just go on a tangent. But
I'll try and chime.
when Drake came with the language, and then decided to put 305 to My City right after that, I think that's one of the greatest moments.
That's one of the one too. That's a great one too. Yeah.
in music history. I think that's one of the greatest little moments in music history. I've only had that a couple times in my life. But having those songs back to back was just a crazy moment for me because I feel like 305 to My City was one of those songs that people kind of slept on.
yeah.
People didn't really take that one in, but
I like that song.
that's a fucking banger.
No, I like that song a lot.
305 to My City?
Yeah.
All right.
That's in the top 5 of the album for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you think about it, that's kind of the song that defines the quality of the album. That sets it apart from other Drake albums. Like it's that he actually like locked in on a sound on that album, you know, and he actually. It felt like he was actually in control. Like it felt like he was in control of his artistry for the first time, rather than the other projects he's had. It's like, oh, here's me showing love to the UK mans, and here's me showing love to Memphis mans, and you know, like this one felt like, no, this is Toronto, this is Drake, this is Drake as an actual artist, not him rapping over Kanye beats and you know, like all that kind of stuff that made him pop before. It was like him, you know.
Other than obviously, if you're reading this, it's too late. But I feel like
I
feel like you can't really count that one just because of the controversy behind it, being that Quentin Miller allegedly wrote most of the shit on there.
Yeah.
So I feel like it takes away from that one. Yeah. But at the same time, that shit was banging.
That one was crazy too.
That was a crazy album when that one came out.
Yeah.
Again, like I've talked to Kevin and like 750 Smitty, hit him up, 750 Smitty. We've talked about that album a lot too, and it's just like crazy how, for me, I remember when that came out, I was having fucking internet problems at the time, so I wasn't even able to download it off of fucking my torrent sites or anything like that. But when I was going to work, that's all people were bumping. I'm hearing that shit on the bus, the train. I'm walking across the street. People were bumping that shit. Yeah. People were bumping it at work. I worked in the kitchen. You're not usually allowed to bump music, but that shit was so hard. The manager was like, "Yeah, just run it, dog."
Yeah.
Like that shit was hard, and I knew all the words to most of the songs.
That was
just
peak,
off of that.
That was peak Drake. I think.
Yeah, that
was like peak.
Like
Drake.
that's when for me. Yeah, that was the first album where I'm so like I'm a Drake fan. You know what I mean?
That one?
Like for me too.
This?
For me too.
Or Nothing Was the Same.
I'm talking about Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
We were talking about if you're reading this.
Oh, okay.
Like
no, I wasn't that late. It wasn't that late.
Okay, I was about to say.
No. For this, no.
No, but that'd be okay too because was
it was right after.
That was a turning point in the.
Fair enough,
I think in Drake's like.
Yeah.
I think from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on views and stuff. Like, actually, no,
views?
Like,
sure, we can get to that after.
What, do we need? Yeah, should we,
we
get
can
into
do a whole Drake thing right now?
Because I think so.
Yeah.
Me and Jamal were talking about this yesterday, and we said I think this is my favorite Drake album because not only was it the first one that actually warmed me up to it, but to him, but like it was the one that felt like the most defined and the most cohesive, and everything that he's released since then has just kind of felt like, you know, he's just been putting it, you know, and it feels like that because he's been calling them mixtapes and playlists and all that kind of stuff, and then how they're like so long and the release doesn't feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like he's as focused on the quality of music anymore because music itself now is a very fleeting thing, but this is an actual, like, this is an album that actually you can still go back and bump, like we were bumping it.
Nothing Was the Same, and also if you're reading this, it's too late.
Those are 1 and 2.
Those are two albums by Drake that you can go back to anytime, and they match the standards of even today.
So,
you know what I mean?
I'm kind of I like Take Care a little more than both of those albums. Like for me, Take Care is number one. Believe it or not.
I feel like Take Care is number one for most
close.
people.
Yeah. This is close. Yeah. Like I kind of like Take Care a little more. Maybe I just like the features on Take Care a little more.
For
of course,
me,
I like The Weeknd on that one. I like
true.
a few other tracks, like you know, Rihanna. Like I like some of those other features. So maybe it's about the features to me, but. Yeah, no, it's hard to say which one's.
But that's interesting too because I'd say my favorite Drake songs on his last how many ever projects have been the features, whereas my favorite songs on Nothing Was the Same was like him.
Yeah.
Right. And
True.
Would Take Care, right? Like my favorite songs on that are like, you know, like the 3000 or like, you know, those like the features or the Kendrick. Because I went back and listened to the album, I'm like, oh yeah, some of this shit is hard. Like Drake is hard on that too. But
that's
like,
true.
But you're saying like the features, made that one stand out. And I think like Nothing Was the Same. I think that's what like that was the first time I'm like, oh, I actually like Drake as an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess if you take Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and you remove all the songs with features and just the ones with Drake, then Nothing Was the Same is a better album. Like I would like it more, basically.
I feel
like
this
what I'm trying to say.
A great little debate to have with other people as well. Like,
for sure. Yeah,
I'd love to hear other people's opinions on that.
Yeah. Especially from Toronto, like people from Toronto.
Yo, the YouTube mans, hit us up. Yo, comment down below. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. What's the best Drake album?
Yeah.
What's the worst Drake album? Is there a bad
playlist?
Is there a bad Drake album? or playlist?
A
You know what I
bad
mean?
Drake album? I don't know.
There isn't a bad one. You can't label it as bad.
They're weak.
There's
Yeah.
weak, but
Scorpion
you're comparing
was-
it to Gold.
I'd say Scorpion is weak. Yeah.
Scorpion
Really?
was weak.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was weak. Surprisingly, me, I feel like a lot of people didn't like Views. I enjoyed Views. I think Views is like my third favorite album by him.
That's wild.
I
People
don't
hate Views.
Yeah, people like hate Views. I think
Yeah.
that was really. I think that was when it was right after all this stuff that he just dropped that was hot.
Yeah.
and it was kind of like it was just his moment to be this mega icon. You know what I mean? It was supposed to just be an album that was supposed to be bigger than life. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like it was called Views. So it's like him being this big monster star looking over, the rest of the game.
I feel like a lot of people from Toronto don't like it because it's like labeled as the Toronto album, but it maybe doesn't represent the city that well.
Yeah, I wonder.
I think I feel like that's why Toronto people don't like it that much. I don't know how Americans feel about it, but because I don't talk to Americans about it. But
The best Drake album that represent us is thing. If you're reading this, it's too late.
yeah,
Yeah.
Running through the six with my woes.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like Views was marketed as the Toronto album with the CN
Yeah, I
Tower
get-
and
I get
everything.
what you mean.
So going into it, you're thinking this is gonna be about Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is gonna depict Toronto in this way that like the world doesn't understand yet.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And
No, yeah,
don't know.
I was disappointed by the album at first. I think it was a letdown at first, but
It
then
needs a couple listens.
And then and then I picked the songs that I did like on that one. I'm like, you know what, I like these are some of my favorite Drake songs. So the album, when I look back on it now, it's like I don't think I remember how much expectation that album did have.
Yeah,
like, and you
a lot of
talking about it,
expectation.
actually, I was like, oh yeah, like that was supposed to be his. If you want to compare him to Kanye, that was like his Dark Twisted Fantasy
Yeah, if you
album,
will.
right?
Yeah.
And obviously it was a disappointment in that regard because I think the point is that Drake isn't the musical artist that Kanye is, but he's wired differently in terms
He's
of how
wired
his
different.
success is, right? So he's still gonna have his long-standing impact. Like it's gonna be intact because of just what he did for the city in general. But like in terms of his musical decisions, like Views was a letdown, but it was still I still enjoy it.
I
like
still
listen
enjoy
to
that
it.
project.
You know
Yeah,
what
I mean,
Yeah.
I bumped it heavily for several weeks.
Yeah.
Like every Drake album. That's funny when a Drake album comes out, especially in Toronto, everyone is listening to it. Like
That's the thing. So
everyone-
like Scorpion,
you have,
I
like,
only
a
listened
million
to like
people.
once. I don't think I didn't want to listen
Really?
to it ever again.
Yeah, I listened to Scorpion once, and then I picked.
you
like,
picked the
you pick
couple
your songs
songs,
that you
yeah.
fuck with. I came
Yeah.
back, but it was like nothing for me to like. It's nothing that I'm gonna run now.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys listen to albums top down a lot? Like
All the time.
All the time, right?
I mean,
don't know,
I
don't do
like
that that
to,
much.
but like, it doesn't have like people don't care. Artists don't care about that anymore. So I
Artists
don't
don't care, but I
try
just
to-
the hits they care about, right?
The artists that still do it, that is still my favorite kind of shit. Like
When they
listening to
build the
top to
album
bottom.
to be listened like that,
Yeah,
you mean? yeah, which is not as popular.
and that's a product of Spotify because they kind of like made it so that albums aren't supposed to, that doesn't matter, you're
And
supposed
that's
to,
why
like,
the
get
term.
views
That's
up.
why a lot of people in the industry are now saying the term album is almost going away,
Mm.
and now it's just playlists. Like that was a conversation for a
Right.
bit.
Wild.
So you think Drake is like
The
like
pioneer
a
of the
genius for that?
playlist,
Yeah.
Oh, because he kind of started the playlist.
if you will. Yeah.
Well, he
Yes,
was the
he
first
did.
one to kind of use it.
Label
in-
it as a
in
playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
I
Has anybody else though?
always figured playlist as like multiple artists.
that's the
but
thing. Like nobody's ever
guess
picked.
that's
No
not-
one's picked up on it yet, right?
Yeah,
We're up, guys.
I've heard playlist be used a couple times. DJ Academics has used it a lot. Playlist.
DJs make playlists, but like artists,
Like an actual artist
Yeah.
though.
yeah.
Like is fucking Midget Jordan dropping a playlist? Is Justin Timberlake dropping a playlist?
should they?
Should
You
they
know,
drop
should there
a
be that
playlist?
distinction? Like, should there be that expectation going into it where it's like, okay, yeah, these are playlists because they're 25 fucking songs, and you're not going to listen to all of them. You're going to pick your ones. There's albums that are still 10, 12 songs, 40 minutes in length. There's EPs, there's mixtapes. Should we have those broader definitions or like, does it not matter anymore? Because
don't know.
people are just listening to music how they're going to listen to it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The state of music overall is just kind of weird right now.
It is super weird.
Man, I just need to make their bread.
See, yeah, because like, so the thing about albums is the reason that they were historically like 42 minutes is because that's how much time could be recorded on vinyl. So that's why
Yeah.
albums had 4 songs usually spread out, like they were 4 minutes each or 5 minutes each. You have 4 on A side, 4 on the B side, or whatever, and you can flip it, right? But there's no, so that's like people were more able to produce like better storytelling because there was like more restrictions, you know, like people, when you have those things that are like the technology is kind of limited, it makes you like care more about the things that matter, like how you experience something from top to bottom, right?
Okay, so speaking on experiences, off top right now, top 3 albums, personal, like that you guys fuck with,
Right.
You're talking about like music,
just whatever
in music.
Yeah.
in music, top 3 albums.
I go last, yo. I gotta think.
How much time do we have on this? Like,
10
minutes.
okay.
All right,
We got a little bit of time.
we got the time.
I was gonna say we could take a break and then
Nah.
come back to it, but
I want to hear it off top. That's why it doesn't matter. It's not gonna change the
Kinda
world.
tough, like-
okay, okay. Voodoo, D'Angelo.
Okay,
in
look at this
in
guy.
Rainbow's Radiohead. I have this on top of my head. Yeah, and third one.
I'm gonna.
I'll throw a To Pimp a Butterfly in there just because it's
Oh,
a contemporary one that's like I respect the fact that because that is like one of the last like albums like from a pretty big musician too, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. You want to go in? Or you need a minute?
This is no one specific order, right?
No specific order.
Or just top 3 I really like.
Just top
or
3 that you like.
I would say favorite. Okay, I'm gonna say Graduation, Take Care, and fucking Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's solid.
Yeah.
Me, Currents, Tame Impala,
Yeah.
In Rainbows, Radiohead, and probably Future Sex Love Sounds.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake, man. My nigga.
Oh,
That's my nigga right there, bro.
That's a different. I wasn't expecting that one.
This is why we need the soundboard.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah, though,
banger.
like
Bro.
when I think about like Future Sex Love Sounds, sorry.
I was just listening to that the other day.
Bro,
Actually.
that's what I'm saying. When you look back at that, let me talk to you, my love. Love Stone.
I was talking about this with somebody else because we were talking like actually that the musician Chris LaRocca, shout out to him.
Yeah.
We were talking about Justin Timberlake. We brought it up and I was like, you know how Weeknd said that like Michael Jackson was where he found like his falsetto. I'm like, everyone who's our age it was Justin Timberlake and Future Sex. Like obviously we listen to Michael Jackson too, but Justin Timberlake was so right there, and those songs were the ones where we all like, if you could sing, you were singing Michael Jackson's
Exactly.
Justin Timberlake
Justin
songs.
Timberlake,
Yeah.
But like, no, the thing that really stands out to me, and you know how I was talking about how on Nothing Was the Same, there was The Language,
Yeah.
and 305,
Yeah.
back to back. Again, let me just,
Yeah.
guys, listen.
Yeah.
Timbaland and Justin snapped on this album. They had Let Me Talk to You, My Love, featuring T.I., banger. Love Stoned, I Think She Knows, banger. What Goes Around, Comes Around, banger.
What goes around?
Back
Oh,
to
I love
back
that
to
song, dude.
back.
Yeah.
That's actually like,
That's
crazy.
that's personally my
the
favorite.
best thing about that album is the switch ups are like that was the most innovative
Crazy
thing.
shit, man.
That was Timberland at the top of his game.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
like that's again, and Timbaland's actually my favorite producer like all time, just because like just the sounds and how he even incorporates himself into his production. It's amazing. So yeah, those are mine. Those are my top 3. Justin Timberlake is slept on a lot.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with him as much now,
He's more of an
yeah,
actor now,
but
right? He's kind of.
is that's an Ian hotcake, yo.
Yo, that's a hot. We have this thing called hot cake.
Hey, I'm eating hotcakes.
It's literally just
Hot cheeks.
came up with that shit
Ian comes out,
today.
hot farts.
We're
like
gonna create
Ian
a graphic
spits.
for it or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking cheeks and
Yeah, okay. And they're just like throwing it in his face.
Yeah.
yeah, steamy cheeks
Yo,
on
Zach,
Ian's face.
Hit it with the hot cakes.
Hey, I'm eating hotcakes.
Okay.
I'm done. Let's back it up, boys. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's like recordings on my old MacBook of like Future Sex instrumentals where
Yeah,
I would
man.
just like sing the songs, and that's literally how I like kind of like started to like experiment with my voice and shit and like learn how to sing. Those are my vocal lessons basically.
That and some Halo.
Yeah.
We used to sing a lot during Halo. We were those kids.
You used to sing on the mic in Halo.
Yeah.
Fucking hate those kids.
Yeah, I know people hate it.
Either the kids that do that or the kids that would like make sex noises.
Yeah. Not as much as you think.
I guess that
We
was-
weren't doing the sex noises as much. It was once in a while, but
Yeah.
Like, I hated that.
it was more. We were honestly singing
Oh.
this album, this Justin Timberlake album.
Yeah.
We were mostly singing that.
Or the kid that's just you're like, oh, this is Call of Duty. Sorry, but okay, you play Search and Destroy, like
Yeah.
the game mode.
Yeah.
The one kid that's blasting music, and you're trying to sound horror, listen to people's, and you're just, man, just you mute them. I get it, but fuck you.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That
It's just
shit annoying,
it's just
yeah.
a nuisance.
And they're
'cause
doing it on purpose.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're
Yeah.
supposed to be catching bodies, but mans are bumping tracks.
Mans are playing like
instead.
Chief Keef or whatever. That's
Chief
what
Keef.
that was.
Ooh.
That's what was
All
hot when I
right,
was
top
playing
three,
gaming.
top three mixtapes.
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 Well, Back to the Dead was a mixtape, right?
Back,
okay, well,
back
that's
from the
number
dead.
one.
I can't even
then.
think
Yeah,
of
that's
mixtapes.
number
House of
one.
Balloons- House of
That's number
Balloons is
one no
number
matter
two.
what.
Yeah, House of Balloons is number 2 because that's
Okay.
technicality, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay, House of Balloons. I like that one too.
unless if I think of another one, then I'll take it off because doesn't need to be there.
I'm gonna go with those two that you have as well, but I'm gonna shout out my boy Soulja Boy. The Bernard Arnault mixtape was fucking nasty.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Those are my top three mixtapes.
Okay. In that same vein, I'm gonna go with. Man, I want to say, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think I want to say White Flame.
Ooh. Damn, he got the little B. Damn it.
Lil B.
You got the
Yeah.
you got the little B. Fuck.
Yeah.
I should have.
Ah.
Okay, Lil B would be right there.
Pink
And
Flame,
Pink Flame.
Gold Flame, Red. I mean, Blue Flame is like an all-time classic in this basement. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say most of the flames from Lil B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blue, red, white. Also the Gold House mixtape. A lot of Lil B's mixtapes probably will fall right behind those three that I have.
Yeah.
Do you have any, Ian?
I can't even think of mixtapes.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like you weren't really in the.
It's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
You weren't really like. I'm not saying you weren't around, but you were probably focused on other shit when it was like mixtape
Yeah.
days.
I was literally thinking about
Like House
that
of
today.
Balloons, yes, would probably be.
Yeah.
I was like,
one I fuck with.
I would drop a mixtape as if like once we get popping, I would drop a mixtape, but that it will only be a mixtape if we like I want to put it on SoundCloud or Dat Piff or something. You
Yeah,
know?
only
like,
Dat
because
Piff
it's all
live
like
mixtapes.
samples that we can't clear, so you just
Yeah,
throw it on as a
just toss it on,
mixtape, you
yeah.
know. Like I miss that because people
Those are
don't
good
really
days.
put out free music as much animour. you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
even though
they're getting robbed.
yeah, exactly. Like it is free technically, even though because
Yeah.
bands are only paying like 0.0. Can you think about that? Like you play a man's song, it's like, hey, I gave him 0.00001 cents or something. Like that's sick.
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and the Black Keys were on there, and they were just talking about like how people should be paid. It was very interesting. They're like, you should just pay like, from my understanding, people can correct me if anything, but you should. The money that you pay towards Spotify or any of these streaming services should go to your top artists that you are listening to,
Yeah.
for example, for that month.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So a majority of that money should go to them, and then Spotify could take whatever, like 30% or 40% or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I think that's more fair to the artists as well.
Yeah.
Because mans are just out here getting robbed.
Facts.
Factoid.
Facts. On streaming, fuck, it's wild.
Yeah, yo, drop your shit, yo. I think that was the point of all of this. Right?
Yeah,
I think
drop
it's
your
always-
fucking shit,
I think that's
man.
always the point of everything. Right?
Yeah, man, drop your shit, man. A lot of you guys are out here trying to premiere and this and that. How many followers do you have?
Yeah.
How many listeners do you have?
Back to that talk. Yo, just drop
Your
shit.
friends, they don't care that you're dropping your music video.
They
in a
don't
week.
care. They really don't care.
Drop your
and
shit.
even if they okay, and you're not even gonna get authentic feedback back from them anyways.
'Cause they're fucking
Because if
fake.
it's shit, they're not gonna tell you that realistically. Oh, you might get that one real friend that's like,
Bro,
it's
we've
shit.
talked about this already. I just wanted
Yeah,
to
okay,
have
yeah.
a
let's-
stupid
okay,
transition.
Okay. Yo, any last words on Drake or whatever? Like, you
Yeah,
gotta
because
say?
I didn't have anything else to like tie back into Drake. That's all.
Yo, shouts out Drake. Thank you for Nothing Was the Same. It's a great everybody bump that shit again. Just support your artists in the city, even if it is Drake. Like
Yeah, it's still a great. As much as it's
a great project.
Yeah, as much as his Scarborough affiliation is shaky, like he was out
Shaky
here. He was
warrior.
Talking, he was talking about it, so like he put us on the map. Like he put us all on the map. So whatever, man. Shout him out.
Facts.
alrighty.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Shouts out Lost Craft.
Yeah.
Shouts out. Just cracked another brew.
Cracked another brew for the boys.
Got
Cheers.
the revival one
Cheers.
this time.
Cheers all around.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I know your arms are short. Let me
It's all good. See that condensation?
Hey.
I was
That shit
dissing
kind
low-key,
of
but
hot
still.
because it's like,
I was actually low-key, I was surprised that you made it.
yeah.
He didn't hear it.
All right.
Oh
Don't
shit!
don't hit the mic.
Yeah, I hit the mic with my nose and the fucking can just now.
This
Last time I dropped
might
the
get
mic.
sloppy. Like,
Yeah. So just going off of Justin Timberlake and everything like that, I just wanted to bring up quickly.
this is a good point.
All right, there were 3 people I feel in history that were closest to taking over Michael Jackson's spot when he passed. R.I.P. Michael. Is that still sensitive? We're not going to get into that.
We don't, yeah.
Don't involve me in none of that
Yeah,
shit.
don't, yeah, we don't know.
Take that back.
No.
I'm
keep
not on
it.
anybody's side.
Yeah, I'm not on anyone's side.
He was a great artist, and that's about it. Okay.
I didn't watch the documentary, but I don't not believe them, but I don't not believe them, but whatever, yo.
Shut up.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't kill me.
1 was Usher. That stomach. 2.
That Osmos, yeah.
The
Dude,
osmos.
the osmos and the beer are not a good combo. Yo. Shit gotta get
Okay,
cut.
so the 3 people that basically fumbled the ball of being the next Michael Jackson was 1, Usher.
Yeah.
2, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
And number 3, Mr. Justin NSYNC Timberlake.
Yeah. And you look at all 3 of them, and they all had their 3 reasons why. And
Yeah.
they're 3 very simple reasons why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Usher's maybe isn't as simple.
Usher's, yeah.
Maybe, yeah, it's hard to get into Usher's.
Usher, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Who had the least? I think Usher had the least chance of the 3.
Maybe that's
To
what
be
it was. Just
Usher
like
had the least-
overall,
Yeah.
he was just like the least talented overall, but he was the least.
I don't know if you're going to say Usher was the least talented. Did you guys see that video clip of him swinging this chain around his neck?
No.
Oh.
Shit. Can you pull it up or?
Yeah, let's put it up.
I don't know. It's hard to stay on top.
So
Usher couldn't do
okay,
it.
so Justin Timberlake, it's literally because he was white, and that,
Yeah, Justin
They
Timberlake
can't
was
crown
basically he was
King
white.
R&B as a white guy, because R&B is
After he dropped one of the best albums ever, the one I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
he kind of
Yeah.
just disappeared for a little bit, and he became a dad and a family man
Mm-hmm.
and shit like
Actor.
that, which is kind of stupid. We all know why Chris Brown fell off.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk
Yeah,
about
there-
that
that's
too much.
yeah.
controversial
But
incident.
Actually,
Don't need to
we
talk
are
about
going to talk about that just because I feel like that did have a big effect on his
talked about it
career
already, though, right?
overall.
it. Have we talked,
We talked about it already.
On the pod?
Chris Brown? No, never.
Okay, but obviously we talked about it. Already,
Chris
but
Brown's
I feel like we talked about this.
abuse.
Where is this?
No.
Oh, here it is. All right, guys. Here's the Usher chain swing.
Okay,
It's coming right now.
for the Spotify viewers. Sorry, it is
You're not going to tell me that man is not talented.
that shit crazy.
Who does that? I've never seen that. If I was there and I saw that shit live,
Yeah.
I would have went off. All right, shut the hell up before we
no
get
one
some
even
copyright
reacted.
strikes.
Did it too?
Wait, let me see it again.
Oh, you want to see it again?
Yeah,
Let me play it.
I didn't get
It's,
a good-
it's worth seeing again.
I didn't get a good look. Hold up.
Yeah, you'll notice the 750 Black God
No,
comment.
The 750 Black God comment. Jeez, that chain swing.
It's facts though.
And then shouts out 100 Wops.
Yes.
He commented the laughing face because it's facts.
It's fucking jokes.
Let me run that chain swing for you guys one more time. Get a good look,
At
guys.
least you
Get
know
a
it's
good look.
authentic.
Come on, man.
Oh,
Come on,
yo,
man.
he caught it at the end.
That's what I'm saying. He knew
That shit was
it was
tight.
gonna land there.
This guy practiced that in the mirror. Not gonna lie. This guy
All
practiced
right.
that in the mirror.
Yeah.
He knew that was gonna happen, basically. So I think that was crazy. But let's get
So
to
what?
the-
No. So what happened to Usher then?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Basically, I feel like what it was with Usher is he's had such a long ass fucking career and nothing's like he's always just gotten to this point where he's been so big and then all of a sudden something happens
Was it
and
like
he kinda,
Justin Bieber
disappears.
that made him fall off? Like what happened? Yo, was it Bieber?
I feel like I don't know,
Maybe, right? Isn't that around the time he fell off?
but he's fallen off like several times.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You so like I think with Michael Jackson, he I like, and even with this, like, it feels weird talking about him. Like, I don't know how much of this I want to keep in, but like, basically, all I need to bring up is the fact that he went to Quincy Jones, right, for Thriller, and Off the Wall, and that's what because he was at that point because Usher, Justin Timberlake, they both had these young careers, and then they transitioned into being these young pop stars. So like when Michael Jackson made Thriller, he was what, like 24 or whatever, 25. So they were both in the same position, and like Justin Timberlake, he did do it. He basically did make an album, but obviously it's not going to reach the success of Thriller just because of how the record industry was at that time. But like Usher never, I don't think he did that. He didn't work with that producer that as much as like, what's the album called with Diddy, where with like Let It No, You Got It Bad and all those ones.
I'll try to find it.
Yeah. But yeah, like he had those albums with like Jermaine Dupri and then Diddy, but then he didn't have that album with like that producer that like, she should have done one like, because Justified is a crazy album too, right? Because Neptunes and Justin Timberlake were like on the top of their game at that time too.
Which one is it? Is it Confessions? No. Confessions?
Before Confessions.
Age 701?
8701. That's when I was. Yeah, like he had, and even Confessions too. Like, I think that was mostly. I don't know who was mostly the producer on that one, but I think 8701 was Diddy or Jermaine Dupri. I can't remember which one he like switched to. I think he switched to Diddy. But he never had that, like thing, that. Yeah, like moment. Confessions was pretty big, but it wasn't, it never just.
Those were all like he's dropping big tracks, and again, when we say,
I think Usher he never crossed into pop as much as
he could have. It was more of a still an R&B type of thing,
right?
And again, when we're talking about people that could have been Michael Jackson, this is people that were dancing, singing, and
Neo,
and were big, you know what I mean?
Package,
These were big R&B stars at the time.
Yeah, they were
Neo, like.
Neo
Omarion, they're on like that. They're on that next tier. You know what I mean? Like they were never like in contention.
Jason Derulo?
But yeah, he's in that tier too.
I would say Jason Derulo's even lower, bro.
Okay, fourth tier. Sure.
That guy's name is a problem. First off, what the fuck is a Derulo?
But he probably has been.
It sounds like a Belgium chocolate.
But he probably has been the most consistent out of those guys.
Yeah, Jason Derulo is going hard. He is doing his thing, but again, I don't like his.
I thought he had hits. That's what I was trying to say.
Fuck him.
Listen, like
if I ever meet Jason Derulo, I'm gonna tell him his name's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I listen to all these artists we're talking about, but I didn't start getting into R&B until recently. To be honest, I didn't start getting into R&B until.
No, recently. That's the thing. That's why these conversations will be a bit harder for you on your end. But it would be nice to hear your perspective on what you were bumping when. How old were you when the show was coming out?
Like to be honest,
everyone was listening to Usher because Usher was mainstream.
No,
like,
to be honest,
music.
like I was of that like mindset where like I wasn't listening to Justified because that's like that's NSYNC music. You don't listen to boy band music when you're,
even though NSYNC was hard.
That's what I mean. Like
they're my favorite
it's something
boy band.
that like going back now, I'm like, yeah, that's hard. But it was as a kid, I didn't feel like I could say that it was.
I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
you couldn't
like,
be caught. Like,
yeah,
but low key, I had those. The albums.
Yeah.
That you would always see on TV.
Yeah.
Like from Much or whoever.
The dance. Yeah.
The dance ones. The dance nows. I had those shits.
To be honest, when I was super young, early music, I was listening to more like Eminem, 50 Cent stuff.
No, it's fine.
That's what I was listening to.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Like in the club was like a moment. Like it was like I know we were only
maybe
10
50
years
Cent
old.
should have been the next.
Yeah,
Michael.
we were only 10. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because we were only 10 years old to experience that. But like when I was thinking about that, I'm like, yo, this guy had.
I remember when Get Rich Die Trying came out.
That's a
and
great
my
album.
cousin got the album, and I wasn't allowed to listen to it, but he gave it to me. He's like, yo, just don't tell your mom.
If we were talking top 5 albums earlier, I would have probably put that one in my top 5 album.
Yeah,
possibly.
I remember the I can't remember which track it was, or if it was the intro of the album or what. But when the bullets are on,
that's the first song. I remember because you brought it over to my house, and I remember hearing that bullets. I'm like,
I brought it here. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is
gonna be crazy,
album, bro. Yeah,
because I remember hearing that, and I thought I was dropping coins. The first time I listened to it, I was like, yo, what the fuck did I drop?
Yo, the texture on that
did
song.
I drop change? The sound was this immaculate.
Yeah.
The sound of the bullets was immaculate.
If you don't go back and listen, just go back and listen to the first. If it's the first track or like the first whatever the first interlude or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can't remember
the bullets dropping. Listen to that and that's it.
On the table.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
My God.
Fuck. Yeah, 50 Cent was probably up next, right after these guys.
Yeah.
That
dude's come up.
I was gonna say something too. I forgot. Man. Fuck. No, we have to go back to Chris Brown quick. Sorry.
Let's go back. We haven't talked about Chris Brown.
That's what it was.
But Chris Brown, we're gonna have to approach this one in a way.
I'm approaching it the way I want to approach it.
Right,
if you get offended, I'm sorry. This is how I am. If you're gonna get offended, you're gonna get offended. I don't care. My bad. Let's have a conversation instead. Engage. Comment down below.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chris Brown was the closest thing to Michael Jackson that we would have had until the whole situation, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he had the dance moves. He was an amazing singer, young talent, and he was always dropping the bangers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I feel like Chris Brown, that was ruined. I feel like that's the same day the whole shit went down with him and Rihanna was the same day he was supposed to be crowned Michael Jackson, the next Michael Jackson. That is my theory.
Wait, so we haven't said this on the podcast yet. This is the first time you've announced this theory on the
I
podcast.
Breezy on the podcast yet.
I don't know.
All right.
I think so.
I don't think
Well,
so.
I mean, we need to, because this is one of Jamal's like
It's one of my
definitive
things.
theses, like theses. You know,
This
like,
is
so-
like one of your top, next to
yeah.
the Soldier Boy thesis, which we haven't talked about
we'll
yet.
get.
We'll get.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We might get into that. We might get into that.
We might say fuck everything else and talk about that.
we could probably talk about that for an hour.
This will be a 3-hour pod, yo.
Soldier Boy thesis. That should be the title of a podcast.
Jeez.
Not now though.
But yeah, don't like this is one of my personal hot takes or hot cakes,
Yeah.
if you will. Yeah, like Chris Brown, that day that the whole shit went down with Rihanna, he was supposed to be crowned the next Michael Jackson at the award show, and it didn't happen. He let it slip because of the situation that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And I always tell people it's very sad just because he was so close.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see where music would have gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
what
his
I'm
career
saying.
would have gone.
So like the reason I respect that opinion is because like I didn't like Chris Brown that much when he came out as a musician. Like going back, like I respect the hits that he had, but like that's what I feel like. Yeah, like it does make sense that his musical growth got stunted because he didn't get those opportunities after what happened, and what happened. But like like because he was so young at the time. He was 21. Like you don't know what he could have been able to do musically because he just wasn't. He had the dance moves already for sure. You just don't know what he would have been able to do musically, and he just didn't recover from that since.
Exactly.
You know,
This man was backflipping on beat,
yeah.
landing on
The dance moves were there. Like he was gonna innovate that no problem. But like the music, if he could have gotten it to that point, and I mean, you know, he was 21. Like all the opportunities are there for him. You know?
They're all there. But again, it's sad the situation that happened. But again, you know, life gets in the way sometimes, and it just wasn't supposed to happen. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we are going to just keep waiting until the next Michael comes around.
He had the talent, just not the. I don't know.
He had it all. He just fucked up.
He fucked up, and he fucked up again and again after that too. There was other.
Well, at the same
downhill
time,
for him.
That's where things started going downhill, and that's why I understand it because you got to think about the situation that I hate calling it a situation because people are sensitive, but we're gonna do that. I hate the situation that went down led him on a downward spiral, but you have to think back to the reason why he was having these other problems was because of that one initial incident. Everyone would bring that up. You get mad on a talk show, fucking destroy the fucking room or something like that.
I mean,
you know what
like, if you were to ask him about it, I'm sure it's the number one regret in his life.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you can't just be like, you know. So yeah.
But if
no doubt about it.
We fast forward to now, I will say I personally believe no one's touching Chris Brown though. Still, but it's not the same. I feel like he's literally everybody's father when it comes to this. Kevin snapped. He jumped back.
So I said father.
He's their fathers. If you're gonna really think about it, like
Shit, dog.
Chris Brown is probably the most talented
man.
guy that we have out there. That we can't put up on that pedestal because
If you look at everything, like all aspects
incident.
of Chris Brown, he's top. Yes, in
He
R&B.
is.
In R&B. Yeah.
you got it. All right.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he hops on a track with Drake, and that song is one of the top songs this year, right?
Yeah, man.
So
It was a nice summer track too.
like, it was
You know what I mean?
one of the better songs. Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, that's the one thing. That's one of my hot takes. So feel free to call me out. Like I'm down to argue. I would like to work on this thesis a bit more. I want to work on a paper about this and Soulja Boy and some of my other theories.
Soulja Boy one's good.
Yeah, man.
To be continued on.
We'll get into that one soon.
That one you don't even want to go.
We'll get into that one soon.
This guy's hard evidence.
Anything else you wanted to say on
Anyways.
the Michael Jackson, Chris Brown stuff,
I don't think so.
or him being a father?
Father of R&B. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't want to snap on the father R&B, but he's like, for a lot of dudes that are doing the not necessarily just the R&B stuff, but like a little bit of the pop and R&B.
No one has come out like him.
Yeah.
Since him.
Since him.
You know what I mean? So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying
There's
to say.
R&B like artists are great.
I'm down to argue
You know
about
what I mean?
that,
But
but I don't see anybody coming to me with actual good facts a lot of the time, unless I'm just stupid.
you know, like who's the top R&B artist right now? Like Khalid? Does he even? He doesn't touch him.
Khalid's not no.
Exactly.
But do you hear yourself? Khalid, Chris Brown.
Exactly.
What are we talking about
Does
here?
Khalid even dance? I don't.
Khalid looks like me, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Khalid looks like me
I'm
with
just
more
trying to think
hair.
of, like the R&B art, the hottest R&B artist today. Who is it? Like Khalid, I guess, right now in terms of.
I mean, nobody does that package anymore.
But
Nobody
no
really
one's that
does
Chris
the
Brown.
dance.
The
Yeah, no
dance,
one does that anymore.
what I'm saying.
Hitting those high vocals, like, and he could rap. Chris Brown
And
could
even
rap.
still,
Chris Brown could rap.
and with the antics.
Like shit.
You know what I mean? That superstar antics, the bullshit that they have going on in their lives.
Bro,
It's
like
only Chris Brown.
the album where he dropped like how many fucking songs on it? Like every
A
song's
million
a
songs.
every song's a banger on
and
that.
every song was a fucking banger.
Every fucking
And
song.
if you really want to, you know, go hard at it, you could just say the first half, or you could say half of the album wasn't as hard as the rest. But no matter what, the whole thing was a banger.
It's crazy.
Bangers back to back, about 50 songs, I think it was, some shit like
It's
that.
wild.
So hey, it is what
It's
it
like, and
is.
it's like that album's like kind of an evolution of him. You hear all his different sounds in that album too.
Yeah.
Which I really like. You kind of hear some older Chris Brown, you go into the newer stuff. Trap
about,
Chris
man.
Brown kind of.
That's what it's
Yeah,
about.
I like it. Anyways, I think that's
Yeah, let's wrap that one up. But basically, actually, how much time do you guys have?
16 minutes.
Okay, cool. So what we'll get into now is just Russ, basically. So Russ came out on Twitter, and he was spitting facts. A lot of people don't fuck with Russ.
fuck Russ.
Yeah, it's fuck Russ is the movement. Hashtag fuck Russ.
Hashtag fuck.
I don't really fuck with Russ, but I always tell people Russ is spitting facts a lot of the time. I just don't like the guy, but we're not gonna get into that right now.
It's fine.
So basically, what he said is artists having to blow up in your hometown first is an outdated concept.
I have it on the screen here.
Anyone who tells you that, block their number. The day the internet, social media came out, let alone streaming, is the day the support from your zip codes became irrelevant. Everyone is everywhere. To add to this point, my first sold out show was in Belgium. First time I got on the radio was in Seattle. My biggest show ever was in LA, followed by Portugal. I'm from none of these places. LOL. Where is he from again?
I think
Atlanta?
He's from the Atlanta area. I don't know if it's direct. I think it's Atlanta or the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Kevin, you didn't even know that until now. Like he doesn't even talk about
Doesn't
it.
fuck with Russ.
Plus he doesn't sound. Plus he doesn't sound like anybody in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Does he sound? Yeah. He's not a trap artist.
I don't think I've ever actually
shit.
listened to like
Huh?
more than. I don't think I've listened to like. I don't know if I've listened to any of his songs.
I've listened to 2 of his songs. I wouldn't even say I've listened. I've heard
yeah.
2 of his songs. The one with the music video where he's driving in the car because I needed to check it out for a treatment.
Yeah. I showed you that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look
Ian
at that
showed
one.
me that
What
one.
You Want was the first song I heard from
And then
him.
What You
I
Want,
think
yeah.
that's a lot of people's first. That was his first blow up hit. I think
I think so.
one of the first ones, and that's how a lot of people discovered him.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, yeah, and
His artwork was cool. The concept he had for the
Yeah,
artwork.
his nice simple artwork.
Yeah.
Even when we started dropping our 750 stuff, I was like, oh, let me just do something simple. And Kevin was like, oh yeah, Russ does that. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck.
you didn't even take that. Yeah, Russ just it's the consistency is there, and it's like a little icon. That's kind of what the song is about, or either
Such a simple idea.
It's either literal or it's not literal,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. But yeah, stuff like that, and like he always brags about how he engineer, produces, writes, he does everything. Right?
Yeah,
he's one of those.
He's
artists.
again, and this is what I'm talking
Which is
about.
like
Like, I fuck with him in the sense that I appreciate that he does all that stuff because this
Yeah.
is the type of stuff that we keep talking about. Like, just do what you have to do to get where you got to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, how do you guys feel about that statement? Do you guys believe in it? Like, for example, if we're just talking about like our city here in Toronto,
Yeah.
do you guys think that? Do you guys think sometimes it's a fuck Toronto thing? Maybe let's focus elsewhere. Do you ever feel that, Kevin?
I don't
Like, it's weird. Like, like I go back and forth on that. Like, you obviously just there's those times where you're just really emotional. And you're just like, yo, like, fuck this city. Like, and I feel that most times I'm like, yo, this. I don't know how the rest of the world works, but I do feel like they're looking at how Atlanta is made up and how even like LA or New York are made up. It feels like sometimes Toronto is very cliquey and very, like fuck, how that kind of thing goes or whatever. People, people like in other countries or other cities, they might be a little bit more welcome to you, maybe, but like, I mean, I haven't really broken out into getting that much statistics on my music yet to kind of figure that out. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's from a like completely personal standpoint, because so much of what I do artistically depends on where I come from.
Yeah.
I would want the support of my city first before I go blow up anywhere, because it's kind of like you would want to feel like the people around you feel that same thing. Like when I dropped Tropic, for example, like I got a couple of DMs from people like from elementary school or like just in the city, and they're like, I could feel that sense of Malvern and 2000s culture and like Scarborough that you're talking about. I'm like, that's like one of the best things that I could hear about that project, because that's what I wanted it to be, right? So
Yeah,
it's weird. Like, I guess it depends on the artist. Like, if you're not, I can understand an artist who's not motivated by where they come from. Where they come from might not be special, but I feel like where we come from is so unique that it informs like so much what I do personally, that
yeah.
it's hard to speak from a personal perspective. If you're from Atlanta or LA, maybe there isn't as much of that culture that you can talk about that you could talk about from being from Scarborough and Malvern. So,
By the way, isn't that great when people listen to your music or your like consume your art and they're like, this is what you're doing. It's like, yo, this is how I wanted you to feel, and you're feeling it. Isn't that like a great feeling? By the way?
Exactly.
It's actually sick.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I actually like.
Yeah.
That was my objective with this piece, and
And I feel like
happening.
as for us, like so much of that can come from. For me, especially, it's when people like pick out those little specific references and they're like, oh yeah, like that's that really super specific thing to Scarborough. And I'm like, yeah, that's so much of what I depend on musically, right?
Yeah, I kind of I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also agree with what he's saying
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Like I agree with what he's saying, but like, yeah, that's.
But the reason why I agree with what he's saying, just to go off since you kind of explained what I would have said anyways, the reason why I say that is because I agree with him is because I almost lost it just now. Is because people don't know you outside outside of your city.
Yeah.
So basically, I feel like that is one sometimes is a hindrance depending on the type of stuff that you are working on or the people that you are around or whatever you're trying to get into. And I can even segue into your thingy later.
I would say,
when people know you, they don't. When people know where you're from, they don't always necessarily respect that. Or even if you think back to Jamal when he was back in fucking elementary school, I was a wild, weird fucking kid. You know what I mean? So I can imagine some people, as we're growing up now, and they're seeing that we're doing podcasts, we're making music, we're doing videos, we're doing this, that, and that, not believing or not taking what I'm doing serious just because they still think, yo, Jamal's that fucking stupid kid in fucking grade 5 or whatever that was spitting nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of find that that's the part where I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because it's more about expanding outside.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time, even expanding outside is a cool thing to do. Like I would love to, if it comes to music, be able to just travel because I have some fucking fans. I have more fans in Belgium, for example, rather than here in the city.
Yeah.
Like why not see what that is like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the point that he makes that's good, at least, is that it might get artists who don't even like. I feel like I don't know if I'm speaking from a point, but I feel like it is a thing where like I feel like artists from Toronto, rappers especially, they feel like they have to market themselves to this specific Toronto market, and it's like,
I don't know why they feel like that though.
if you're from Toronto and you rep that shit, sure, but like if you know, like, so as much as I say that I love the people that I come from, like I know that like most people don't understand the shit I'm talking about because we love so many other things, like so many different cultural and political and social topics and whatever, and it's like that's the thing too, is like if you understand that like people from the other side of the world can understand you, then make sure that you're not like limiting yourself to this like limited viewpoint that you can only blow up here. Like, no, it is possible for you to get your shit elsewhere, you know?
There's definitely a target audience to like writing hip hop. So if you're only writing for your hometown, that's probably not good. You want to get more ears to your music. If you're only writing for Toronto people, I'm sure you can write a few songs for Toronto, but if you're creating a piece and it's only for Toronto,
Is that why Views didn't blow up the way it should have?
Maybe.
Do you feel like Views was too Toronto? I don't
Maybe.
feel like it was.
No, I was just saying if Views wasn't Toronto. It was just
Oh, you were
marketed
saying-
as Toronto.
it was marketed. Okay,
visually, yes.
I don't
Because
think
the
that's
fucking album.
I don't
with
think
the
that's a
CN
problem
Tower.
too much in music, especially in hip hop. Yeah, like I feel
true,
like so many of like the New York classics and LA classics were built on like them referencing these like specific places of like where they came from. You know, like straight.
I feel
out,
like New
straight
York.
out of Compton.
I feel
you know
like New
what I
York
mean?
and LA can get away with it just because they're represented in the media
And I
so
feel like
much.
Toronto's getting there
feel
now too, right?
You know
Like
what
we're
I
getting
mean?
to a place now where like I feel like artists can blow up saying like saying shit like Six and whatever, and you know what I mean.
That's because of Drake and his
Exactly,
international
yeah.
fame.
Yeah.
have definitely made us more international
Yeah.
city. So that's good. But I think to Russ's point, it's kind of out. He says outdated, and I think it is. It depends on how Russ blew up. Russ blew up on the internet on SoundCloud.
Pretty much. I wouldn't say. I don't know. I want to say. I don't want to say SoundCloud, but he
not
blew
sure.
up on the internet like most
He
people.
did. He didn't. Exactly. So he didn't. His core fan base came from the internet, which comes from global,
Which is everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So his fans right off the his core fan base right off the bat was kind of from all over the fucking place. So he didn't really have a core fan base in wherever he's from first. Plus, maybe that's why. That's how he started, and then he just rolled with it, kind of thing. Like, just depend. I think it's the way people blow up now. People blow up globally, which is the internet.
Yeah.
Then maybe it's not as important to grow that
yeah,
core
that's the-
fan base
that's
in
the
your
point.
hometown.
Yeah,
because
that's the point he's making.
To grow your
Yeah.
core fan base in your hometown is to like go to shows locally and build this like little fan base locally. Now it's all about just internet goes everywhere.
Even like for us when we're doing our 750 stuff, I feel like sometimes it's not even pressure, but it's like I would love, if we did get more reception from people here in the city.
Yeah.
And it's not like we aren't.
Yeah.
We're getting a good amount. People fuck with us, but it's like we've heard so many times from other people where they're like, "Yo, bro, you guys should just go to Atlanta," or "You guys should fucking." We've even heard Boston. Like, you guys should go to Boston. People will fuck with you guys out there.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know if it's our sound or what we're taught. And that's the one thing I've never understood fully what they meant by that.
Yeah.
Because
I don't
we're
know if
not.
they know what they mean.
We're not. We're that too, but we're not like big, if you will. We're not big like Toronto.
Yeah,
bands,
yeah, yeah.
if you will. When it comes to the music, you know what I mean. We're not out here yelling about the Six and
No.
talking about. The
Yeah, it's
Ra-
weird.
The
Like,
Rabba.
yeah, no, it's weird. Like, no, like, so, like, yeah, like, I said that Tropic was like, it was like represents Scarborough and stuff, but like, I don't say Toronto.
Yeah,
or any,
it's
you
more
know,
the sounds.
it's the sound. Yeah, it's what we hear rather than like the actual like language we use, and I think that's part of it. Like, that's why we wouldn't. I guess we wouldn't feel us as artists. We wouldn't feel too bad if we blew up outside of the city because, like, yeah, it's not like we're specifically addressing this place, but like, yeah. I guess what it comes down to is like, yeah, I guess we have to just say it straight up. Like, we would love more. We would like more love from the city, but we just don't get it.
Yeah.
And
I feel like, but that's why I feel for all artists too.
If you're gonna live here, that's where you're gonna live. You want the fan base
Yeah,
here.
you want your
those
people
local
that are
shows.
here with
Yeah.
you. You
Of
want,
course.
you want everyone that's here in the city
Yeah.
to be part of what's going on.
I
in
guess
your
it's like,
career.
yeah, it's like a case by case thing. Like if you're from a city like Toronto where you
Yeah.
don't feel like there's enough love getting cultivated through what you're doing, then yeah, don't cut off those other channels. Like, because yeah, there probably is gonna be a community outside that's more conducive to what you're doing.
Facts.
But give your city a try.
For sure.
Yeah, give them a try.
And lastly, on this topic, if you're gonna give your city a try and do this whole thing for your city, drop your shit, man.
Honestly,
Drop your
you don't
shit.
drop your shit. It doesn't exist.
Drop your
Just
shit.
exists, on your laptop,
Pretty much.
and that's it.
We are back. This is the Lost and Talks podcast, the most lit podcast past Kennedy Road.
Ooh shit! And we're drinking some Lost Craft beer. We're not sponsored, but it's great beer.
Soon.
Soon time. Anyways, so our next topic is we're going back into artists a bit of it's the idea of like a lot of artists sometimes they take inspiration from different things, right? But it's kind of like how are they stealing or are they like kind of just taking little elements from different pieces and putting it together? Because there's like this saying, I don't remember the Picasso saying, because I think we brought it up in a podcast before, didn't we?
No, we did not.
Did we not? Okay, my
It was our YouTube video.
oh, it was a YouTube video.
Since you guys are on the YouTube channel or on Spotify,
That's
but check
true.
out the YouTube.
Yes.
We have reactions on there as well.
Yes.
I can't remember which reaction it was, but it's there.
It was one of, I don't remember which one. But basically, to summarize, it's kind of like the idea of a good artist borrow, great artists steal, right? So there's different ways. Instead of like good stealing is kind of taking ideas from different sources of art and stuff like that. And then kind of like, I guess an example of like bad stealing would be just kind of taking it from one source or just strictly like pretty much ripping it off, like looking at one piece.
I got you.
Yeah.
Good artist copy, great artist steal.
Thank you. I can never fucking get that one right.
But I think that just might have fucked up your whole segment, but let's get it.
Yeah. So with this idea, I kind of started to research a couple different examples of like artists or creators kind of taking things from other creators, and sometimes it's in a like an homage type of way where it's like you were heavily inspired and you created your own version versus kind of just strictly pretty much straight up plagiarism in a way where it's just you kind of just ripped off a song lyric and you just took it for your own, or this whole concept was kind of taken. And a lot of artists have been into trouble with it, and sometimes they get like one artist that I think a lot of people reference, or at least it's happened to him a few times. The Weeknd, it's happened to The Weeknd a few times, right?
Really?
Like Secrets, I think that's the main one that's come out recently, where it's kind of like it was based off another like a really iconic song, but it was kind of more like he took the sound and kind of just went with his own version.
Yeah, I know.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I never read the article, but I know the song that they're talking about. But yeah, I don't know, like it is what it is. Like
Kevin's not
man's
backing
man's reuse songs every
That's
day.
true.
You know?
No,
like,
I
that's
wanted
what
your
pop
opinion,
is,
like
you know, like.
I wanted your opinion on like as a musician, kind of like.
Well, I mean, if for that song, I don't. What did he not give them songwriting credits? Because
No.
okay, yeah, so that's kind of messed up because that was literally the same lyric. So that's
Yeah.
one thing.
Exactly.
You know, in those situations, yeah, you got to pay. Like there's the blurred lines, like with the one with blurred lines and Marvin Gaye, like because I've listened to both of those songs and I get what they're saying, but traditionally, like copyright has come down to melody and lyrics, so you can credit like writers, or like you can make a strong case if you can see like a melody line is the same, or if a lyric section is the same, and you're not credited as a songwriter on a certain song, and it happens all the time. And like, I think there was like a Sam Smith song where there's like a melody in the hook, and it's like the exact same song as I can't remember what the other one was, but like, and it's not that he like Sam Smith, I think he just like paid them off, like, or they, I think they're they pronoun right now.
Shit.
So yeah, which I was like, yo, I can't believe I even remember that. But yeah,
Yo,
like,
you actually give hard just now.
Yeah.
No, that's sick.
Yeah.
No, you actually, because I remember reading that.
Yeah.
It is now they.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just like, have it. Like we didn't realize that we just straight up copied it. But like the Marvin Gaye one was a little different because it's more about the drums sounding similar, which
Okay. I feel like a lot of that in music is like almost coincidence.
yeah.
Like I feel like, you know.
Well, so I remember reading an article about it because of that blurred lines thing, and so the law is based on like how songwriting used to be paid out back in the day, where it was like the sheet music, like so when they used to like, because the way that the music industry was back then was giving like buying sheet music for people to buy in their homes and play those popular songs like on their pianos at home. So you would have people who would get paid for writing the melody, and you'd have people who get paid for writing the lyrics.
Right.
And that system, that law is still what applies to modern society. So that's why these lawsuits about like plagiarism for music, for art, it's still like, it's just so archaic because like we haven't really set out the rules of like what
Exactly.
plagiarism and copying is yet. So it's like it's
sometimes
really hard,
people go off on like just similar lyrics or a similar sounding flow. Like,
yeah.
We're on the point where it's kind of like
that Ariana Grande song.
The flow.
What was it? Seven Rings? Is that what it's called?
It doesn't matter. She stole from my nigga.
Yeah. Which
Soulja Boy.
So like yeah, like I completely understand that she did, but then also it's kind of like that same flow has been used like so many fucking times now. So it's like, is it even like if people aren't even getting compensated for that anymore, then you know what I mean? Like,
no,
who cares?
What's another flow stealing thing? There was the Drake and XXX Tentacion whole little thing.
Oh yeah,
that X accused Drake of KMT and Look at Me, which was X's biggest hit, like that made him blow up. And like they had a similar sounding kind of flow in the beginning.
Can I hop in on that one quick?
Go
Just
ahead.
because it's kind of funny that you brought that one up and we were talking about Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah.
If you listen to Nothing Was the Same, thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you listen to Nothing Was the Same, I can't remember exactly what song it is right at this moment. I could double check while you talk. But Drake already had that flow.
You already had that flow.
Yeah.
On what song?
I just told you I want to.
Sorry, I missed that part. I was distracted with the beer.
No,
My bad.
I'm gonna check in a sec, but I'll get back to you. But you can continue doing your thing. But it was
the language, I think, right?
It was I think it was the language.
Okay, so we had that flow even
Yes, it was the
before
language.
KMT.
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't. Yeah, for that one, I wasn't accusing Drake of it. I think it was
No,
just
I know you weren't.
coincidence. I think it was just a coincidence,
Yeah.
and I really doubt X stole it from him. That's probably not likely.
Yeah. And
So
sorry, I just want to hop in quick.
Yeah.
I do feel like that happens a lot in hip hop.
Yeah.
It's at the same time there's only so many flows.
Yeah.
There
There's
really
only
is.
so many
Yeah.
things you could talk about how
Well, the
you're
problem
getting your
with
dick
that flow,
sucked. And
that flow in particular, the triplet flow is like the Migos. They kind of
There's so
they
much
brought
history.
it. They brought it back
Yeah.
into trap, but it's been in hip hop for a time.
Mm-hmm.
The Migos. I think the Migos are the ones who should be credited with popularizing the triplet flow, and then there's that very specific one that XX said on that song that like KMT does sound like, but at the same time Drake has been doing the triplet flow since. So it's like you know what I mean?
there's
like,
so much shit to
yeah.
it. And that's where it comes down
I
to.
didn't even know
Where,
it was
Yeah.
called that.
Yeah.
There's names for flows. Shit.
man, there is. Yeah, they have it's the triplet flows.
Okay.
Because even now we're moving into an area. If people that are listening to hip hop and whatnot, you have this thing where, and even I've done this myself, where you just record a couple lines.
Yeah.
And you do your next couple lines, but it's kind of like overlapping, so you can hear that it's overlapping. But at the same time, it's kind of sick now. People are getting used to it. But it's like that's from Hood Rich Pablo Juan and
Right.
other rappers.
Right. Okay, so flow. I feel like flow is kind of. I think you're pushing it a little too far with plagiarism because it's kind of like. It could really
The
just
flows
be a
have always,
coincidence.
yeah, the flows have always existed since the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Poetry,
I think,
so
but
it
like,
doesn't matter about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
right? But when you're ripping off a complete, so what about the Drake Soldier Boy one where the lines are almost the same, under the similar
was that
type
again?
of flow? So
What's happening?
what's
Oh, yeah.
happening, and then Drake's Tell Me
So
what's really
that's
going on.
that's weird because
That one's
there's
weird.
kind of that culture in hip hop called like recycling, where you kind of like I always like thought of it where growing up where I didn't think about it too much. I was just like, oh yeah, like for example, like Lil Wayne or Jay-Z would do that a lot. Drake would do that a lot too, where he'll take like kind of classic hip hop lines, like if we're talking about Nothing Was the Same. What's the one where like he takes, is it Worst Behavior? He takes that Mace, who's hot, who's not.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me who. That's an entire verse from Mace, right? Like
Right.
that's kind of that's like a tradition in hip hop almost, where you kind of just take like these hot things
Okay.
and like, because it will happen all the time where like I'll hear like this hip hop song from the 80s and then I'll be like, oh shit, like fucking like Ludacris or something did that same thing, you know, and it's like that's how I know that line, you know. And that's weird where like I don't know, I guess it's weird when it's somebody like Drake and Soulja because they're kind of contemporary artists. Like it's a different thing when you're paying homage to like somebody, you know, who came before you, but like when it's somebody on the same level, like that's where the lines get a little, you know, crossed or whatever. But it is something that exists in hip hop where you kind of like continue the traditions of saying those same kind of lines, you know.
I think that's hip hop's way of like
Yeah.
an homage or
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
When it comes
a
when it comes
reference to
I think
older
when
music.
it comes to copying in
Yes.
hip hop, I think it's like, you know, the entire verses or like hooks. That's, you know, that's when it
or just straight up like almost stealing a man's.
There are
song.
cases
yeah.
of straight stealing, though. I
Yeah.
have one more example that I think, I don't know if you're familiar, but you're probably familiar with it. And it's a little more like not as known, but Comethazine and O Trap Star. Do you know that?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was an example like of like complete like plagiarism because
just
those songs
stupid.
came out around the same time. But I think Comethazine's came out a few months before, and then O Trap Star, which by the way I think is like Lil Pump's cousin. Some
I
shit.
believe so, yeah.
I think he's related to Lil Pump. Anyways, they're both like trap artists, but like kind of emo. No, not really. I wouldn't say that.
Damn.
Not really. Anyways, they're trap artists, but they had lines that were like pretty much the same, just kind of said a little differently because the beats were different. but like the actual words were identical, and it was too like coincidence. Like, you know how there's those typical rap lines right now that everyone, says whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's only
But
so many
these
times,
ones were like
you know?
specific. It was like book a flight to Dubai on the weekend, bitch, I'm geeking or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's like really like I've never heard that line before.
Yeah.
And the fact that two trap artists put out that same line in the same song within the same month is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think they did, and there's another line that was identical. So that's an example of like just straight stealing. And I think he admitted it on like No Jumper podcast. He's like, yeah, I stole it.
Who
So-
and who stole it?
Sorry to clarify. Trap Star stole from Comethazine.
Okay, cool. Because I'm about to say, yeah,
And
pretty good.
Comethazine's a way better artist.
Yeah, he's pretty sick.
I don't-
But even still, people would say he copies a lot of people too.
That
But
too.
Whatever.
I think a lot of these newer artists are kind of ripping off lines from everyone. I see a lot of similar lines always popping up and shit.
But that's at the same time. That's
You
what I'm
know
trying
what I
to say.
mean?
Like, there's so many times. There's only so many different ways that you could say
Yeah.
certain things, and
It's true.
we can only be so creative sometimes. I appreciate when
It's
I hear a
true.
good new. This is
Well,
how
the super
you know,
lyricists will come up with the new bars all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like you're always gonna hear different shit from J. Cole.
Like, let's even
You know
go
what I mean,
off
for
of
example.
thing J. Cole. He's
Yeah.
a super lyricist,
Right.
but let's call him out for his some people make some
Yes.
people I can't fucking remember the line.
Some people make millions.
Some
Other people make
big
memes. Right?
Tory Lanez already came out with that one.
Fuck,
Liddy
he
again.
did.
You know what I
Did.
mean?
He did, but he did like Tory did not get because like
Tory didn't get the love that he like. J.
Yeah,
Cole's
J. Cole got
bar
a lot
was
of love.
whack. Like, that one to me was whack. I was like, okay, that's fucking stupid. But then Tory Lanez's version of it on Liddy, shit was hard.
Yeah. That was like that's wild. Yeah, because Tory didn't get any kind of like love for that line, or because everyone on when J. Cole said that line, everyone was like, yo, that
Yeah, that's
that
fucking-
shit's deep. Like,
It's so deep.
damn, like fuck.
But I'm like, yo, I heard that when Meek got back home. Like, what are you talking about? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Or
but
before
Tory
he went.
said that like years ago, but no one really. I don't know. Maybe it's the way he said it. It just kind of went over people's
Tory
head.
had the better delivery, and
Maybe it went over people's head. He was too ahead of that. That line was like too ahead of its time almost.
Maybe I don't.
It went over people's heads. Like which song was that? Remind me.
Liddy.
Liddy.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't even that long ago.
It wasn't even. That was like 2.
I was thinking
is
is it before Troll Culture? No, was it?
Nah.
Nah,
That was in the midst of it. That's when
Yeah, what the
Much
fuck,
Dank just came out.
Yeah,
Much
yeah,
Dank
yeah.
was popping.
Yeah.
Still popping now, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. True. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely different examples. We said flows. Okay, whatever. It's just like
it's whatever.
but then if you straight up take lines that are identical, then you're ripping people off, and like that's. But at the end of the day, I mean, ideas are kind of like built off existing ideas, right? Like no idea is like 100% original at the end of the day. So you're building off different things. So what we're trying to say is like the idea of good stealing is to take from different sources, right? In music or film or whatever. So, I mean, for film, there's a lot of different filmmakers that kind of take from like Tarantino. We're going to switch to movies for a second. Tarantino takes a lot of different references from different movies, stuff like that. Who else?
Let's call them out. Let's call out your boys.
Sure.
Kid Studio.
Oh, fuck. I didn't know. I thought we were going to stay on film.
Well, we can stay on film because.
But it is reference to film.
It's reference to
Sure.
film.
Yeah. Kid. Big directors in Toronto. Yeah, we've mentioned it before. A lot of their. I think you said that already.
I think I already said that.
Yeah,
too, but
a
Kid
lot of their
Studios,
music videos they take from films.
Yeah.
Right. So they had one that was like almost like a Fight Club-esque type of video or whatever. They've taken from Stanley Kubrick. They've taken from. They did a Moose Knuckles ad recently, which was very similar to Holy Mountain, which is like this. I would say low key art film that a lot of people probably wouldn't even see, but like, yeah, it was definitely inspired by it. Yeah. But they don't copy. They just take the concept. They steal in a good way.
Is that what? Okay.
I'm not saying they're them ripping off. They don't rip off movies for their. It's a music video, so they just take the whole aesthetic.
The aesthetic.
They take the aesthetic and like kind of the concept, and they bring it into this music video world rather than the film world. So I think they don't steal in a negative way. They steal in a
I would agree as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think what they're doing is ripping off shit.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? They're definitely inspired. Like I see the inspiration that they're putting into their work. So I see that. That's okay, right? So I mean, it's hard to say, but
I think that's it was Picasso who had that quote, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant. Like,
Yeah.
copying is literally the act of replicating it. Where like
Exactly.
stealing is the idea that you're taking something and you're hiding it in your own artistry.
You've made it your own. If you
so that people don't even know the act of stealing is they don't know that you stole it, right? So it's like that's where I understand it, because so many of the songs I made where it's like, I was listening to this song, but then it's like, oh really, like that's what the inspiration for that song is. Like, yeah, but that's stealing, because you're taking this thing and you're putting it through your own artistic kind of lens or filter, whatever you want to call it. That's what he meant by it, and that's the difference between useful stealing and just stealing for the sake of copying it.
We all do this, and one in early development of our music videos, right? When we're directing, either me, Zach, or Jamal, a lot of us will sit down and we just watch music videos we like, and just look at the shots and we look at ideas.
Or even if you catch a vibe from the song,
Catch a vibe,
you search for that vibe in other music videos that you have seen.
Well, if you look at treatments, like one of the most important parts is drawing materials from other sources, right?
Yeah.
There's straight
literally treatments.
straight,
one of
like,
the most important
cutting.
parts of the treatment is like probably the thing that most of the clients look at is the mood board, where it's literally just
we
reference
literally
images
just
from-
screen grab from other music videos or films
Yeah.
and put it together. And we're being like, this is kind of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and in most cases, it's a
Right.
pretty good like depiction of how it's a good. You get a good idea of like what the visuals are gonna look
You're
good
like, oh
with it,
shit, okay, this is gonna look hard. We're going
because
forward, this
film for the most part is going to be borrowed from things that you've seen. Like the best artists are the ones who put it in a way that you don't even know that that's what they're taking from. But no, there's things like Kid Studio where it's like, yeah, you obviously see that that's what they're taking from, but that's part of the message, is bringing that piece of art, that film into the conversation of what they're doing, right? When you can reference something where it's like, oh, I'm kind of like playing off of it rather than just stealing it completely, right? You're kind of like creating that dialogue with your own art. That's when it's useful too, right?
Yeah. There's definitely there's that difference.
Yeah.
Plagiarism, no one likes that shit. And like, if you do it, the reality is it's not going to get you very far anyways. Because people are just gonna be like, you just rip that off.
And it doesn't help you. Yeah,
so
it's that same teacher that's the teacher speech that they'll give you like at the beginning in class when they give you your agenda, and they remember that when they would show you the rules of conduct and don't plagiarize and shit. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's not helping you. It's true. Like if you don't study and shit, and like if you don't work on your own artistry, you're not gonna become your own artist. So like,
can I give you guys some quick insider stuff on teachers though? Because if you really think about it, my girl, she's a teacher, and basically they have this thing where you can post up your lessons online and people just take them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's the same teachers that tell you not to plagiarize.
But
they're not coming up with those fucking lessons.
That's what I mean. Like it's the same. Like it's such a stupid concept, but it is true though.
Yeah.
Like for what they're saying, like as much as teachers are also plagiarizing too.
Yeah.
Because it's even the ones who don't do that, the curriculum is this, like, I don't know how it works, but it's like pretty rigid. Like they tell you what you got to teach.
Most places.
Yeah.
Depending again, we don't have all the information, but from what my understanding, depending on where you are, the school that you're at, and what they're about, they either have a strict thing that you are following, or you can just kind of do whatever the hell you want in the classroom. But at the end of the day, the foundation of what you're going to be teaching these kids is shit that you've already learned from somebody else. You know what I mean? And
then the EQAO and stuff, because those tests are used to determine like how much funding that school gets. There's like that book which we might not even realize, but they were teaching us the test based on that book. That's when you had those stupid like reading exercises and stuff, because that was like how the test was like,
gonna be, or if you will.
So it was so stupid because it's like we weren't really learning anything useful, because it was only based for this test, which doesn't really have any indication of like providing success for like kids actually like getting smarter or anything.
I know we talked about school a few episodes ago.
Yeah, we'll shit on school like
we
all
get
the
shit
time.
on it again.
We shit on school all the time.
We're
We're not
all
shitting on like the teachers, but it's just like more the
No.
just the actual everything that's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah, I hated EQAO. Not because
actually a lot
I
of
was
this is
bad
so
at
there's the show Vice Principals on HBO, and like a lot of like what I'm talking about is coming from that too, where I'm like, oh shit, yeah, like this is not even like because it's comedy, but it's like no, this is actually how the EKOA was for like those school standardized tests. Like the U.S. is even worse for that shit, like the SATs and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's all like you like if you're a student who doesn't want to learn based on that system because like it hasn't even been proved to like help you actually become a more intelligent person, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with not wanting to do that. But like the teachers, even the good teachers, they still need to do that because like they want to get paid, and you know what I mean? Like obviously you want to like work at a good school, so like
Did you have any other like examples of not just necessarily stealing or copying, but anything else that you
how the
wanted
fuck
to go
did we
over with
get
that?
there?
I don't know. Well, I did have the Taylor Swift Spike Jonze
Yeah, because I want to hear a little bit more about that.
ad. You guys haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Throw it up. You want to watch it? All right.
Yeah,
So basically,
what's our time looking like, Zach?
Let me get the Chromecast up in this bitch. So basically, we can't play the audio because it's copyrighted.
Yeah,
and Spotify will destroy us. So,
but
even though it's a music platform, but
this is Taylor Swift's Delicate.
We're talking about plagiarism.
I know. While we teeth.
But it's like educational, right?
Taylor Swift's Delicate.
Right?
Very good track, folks. Check it out.
So basically, this was one of her bigger music videos. What was it, 2018? Should we skip this or fuck it?
Just skip to the most important part.
Yeah, it's when she starts dancing.
Starts twerking?
Not that kind of dance. Oh God, that would ruin the video. Okay. So, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot this video, but now I
Right.
remember.
Yeah, it's kind of like she's dancing. Well, first of all, she starts doing these weird ass faces in the mirror. And if you watch the one that is apparently it's not even really her though, it's the director, right? You can't even fully say it's her that ripped off the idea.
But people are just gonna say it's her
gonna,
just
they
because
don't understand
they don't understand
that there was like a
There's
whole team of people in
100
between
people
her
working on this shit.
producers, label reps, and directors all looking at this being like, this is great, even though it's the Spike Jonze ad that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
Just very similar. It's almost too close. I don't think it's a coincidence personally. So yeah, she's basically kind of like, there's like everyone around her is kind of ignoring her, like she doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And then she starts to dance, but her dance moves are very similar to this other video that we're gonna pull up after this is kind of done. But I wish we could. It's kind of better with music, but whatever.
Yeah, and the track's hard.
Yeah, the track's pretty dope.
I hate when Taylor Swift dances like this.
Oh my God. So yeah,
really
they definitely have these weird choreographers,
music.
but the dance is so similar to the other video.
I honestly feel like she's really embarrassing white folks, but we're not gonna get to that
Fuck.
Why you say it like that? Fuck, dude.
We're already going through so much.
Fuck shit.
We've already fucked up so much.
All right, can we watch the?
We already
Show me
have
this Spike Jonze.
All right.
I'm done with this. yo.
Spike Jonze, who is a great director, by the way, in the music video world. Hold up, let me.
Her is a great movie too, in the film world as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Of course. No, I meant director in general, but his
yeah.
music videos are definitely what stand out a lot too.
He's a weird guy. Skateboard.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a weird culture that I always wish I was a part of, because it seems like it's the spawn of so many like influential things that we like, Supreme and his shit and like, I don't know, like there's just
I've tried to get into that world and I've seen it. I've been around those guys. But
I mean, maybe it's just because we're from here and it's just there's not enough of it.
Yeah, man's weren't skating out on these.
You have to be from LA to really have that.
This
culture.
is Kenzo World. New.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Rocket Power. You know
Rocket
what I mean?
Power.
I always
and
hated them.
You guys ready?
fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah.
This is the Kenzo World new fragrance.
Ad
by Spike Jonze.
This is.
Hey, shout out Kenzo.
Hey, Kenzo.
Hey.
Okay, so yeah, Okay, so she's kind of doing that shit with her face as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's dating Pete Davidson now, eh?
Yeah, this is very embarrassing for white folks.
What the fuck? All right, it's so weird without sound, man. Like
She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that's true. So the dance, she's kind of doing this weird dance, and she's also in this kind of world where there's like no one around her. See that dance move? That's very similar to what she was doing. You know what I mean?
Well, she's hitting it harder though.
Yeah.
Oh, I think her performance is way better.
Taylor couldn't do this.
I mean, Taylor's not like an actress like that. You know what I mean?
Well, she is.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Okay, I see what you mean though.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I haven't seen this ad before.
Yeah, it was a huge ad. It got 28 million views on
Not
YouTube.
mine.
Huh?
Not my view.
Not your view. No, it was a big ad. It was a big viral ad. Just because of how like
So this one
crazy
came
it
out
was.
like
This became
well before.
Oh yeah, 2016.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
2016,
Yeah,
man.
Delicate dropped like last year.
Yeah,
No, it came out like 2 years. What was the other song? Was 2018, right?
Yeah, that's I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's just
So for something like this, would you say like that it's what is this? Would you say this is a negative?
it's
Or
hard
for
to
Taylor
s-
Swift, not for the actual ad, but yeah. Would you say that it's a
well,
negative?
We all know
that,
it's not actually Taylor ripping off the idea.
Yeah.
Unless she went to the director and is like pointed at the Spike Jonze ad, is like, I want this.
And she might have still.
Who knows?
She's a
what
big
happened
star.
behind
She
the
probably has
scenes,
the control.
But we understand how music videos go, and there's usually about 20 people in the background that all decide on a video idea at the end of the day. So is this an example of bad stealing? Yes and no. It's hard to say whether it's inspiration or it just seems too similar to be a coincidence, and it seems like I think it was kind of ripped off. And from what I understand, the director of the Taylor Swift video, I don't have his name here, but he's been known to actually reference Spike Jonze a lot in other videos.
Okay.
So he's actually kind of a guy who takes Spike Jonze.
I would be kind of cheese then.
Yeah,
I would be a little cheese.
I can't
it's one
find
of those things
the
where
references right now.
Or when
Unfortunately,
people
but that's
copy
what I heard.
you, it's again. I've mentioned to us before
Yeah.
when we've had our conversations. Like when people copy you, it's flattering, but at the same time, if it was something that people are doing all the time, then you're like,
Yeah.
like yo fam, like can you just chill? Like can I just have something for my own?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's hard to assess these kinds of things because it kind of doesn't hurt either one of them, like
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
This got news like international because Taylor Swift. Usually.
Yeah, so that's the thing. At the end of the day, if anything, all it did was probably just bring more attention to this ad.
I think it.
So it's
bring
kinda
attention
like-
to both ads.
Well,
So-
the one's the music video.
And the thing is if Taylor Swift said like, "Hey, this is a direct inspiration from this ad," then no one would have clicked. People wouldn't have clicked on this ad as much. But if you hear the controversy,
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird thing where it's like because they tried to steal it without getting noticed. If that's what happened, then this ended up getting probably more publicity than if they were to like say, "Hey, this is a direct homage."
I don't know. That view count might have been because they.
Yeah, like, that's the
I
thing,
doubt
like,
it
you
had
never
that
know,
many
yeah.
views before.
I
to
wonder
be
what the
honest.
views were like before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Spike Jonze is actually one of the top directors.
That's the thing too. Is like
A-list, right? So
those guys they're gonna be like copied, systematically. Like there's those guys, Stanley Kubrick, like Spike
Yeah.
Jonze has a distinct thing too. In music, it's like guys like Jai Paul and James Blake. They're just always gonna be copied
Hey,
without
Jai Paul.
even. Yeah, they're gonna be copied without even. You just can't track it after a certain point. It's just like but those guys they're comfortable. They're not like those guys aren't mad that
They just say this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
At
so-
the end of the day, they're comfortable that they've created something that's unique. And people want to copy.
yeah.
honestly, I think what happened with this one was the director of the Taylor Swift video wrote a treatment and referenced this video in the treatment.
Yeah.
And what happened was ideas overlapped
Yeah.
and became a little too similar.
And no one
And
said
everyone
like,
caught on to it
"Oh,
because
shit,
it's
this
Spike
was-
Jonze
yeah.
and it's a big director.
Yeah.
And it looked bad basically. So that's what happened, I think. So with the Kenzo World ad and the Taylor Swift video, I think there's just like when the treatment was made, I think it was referenced and a lot of the ideas ended up just becoming almost just copied when Taylor Swift's video was produced. And it ended up being like that. And maybe they thought, oh, well, no one would really notice these little similarities like that dance move or the kind of like even the location is very similar. It's very
The location's
extravagant,
similar as well.
big hallway type thing and kind of her facial expressions. I think it was just referenced and then unfortunately just they ended up ripping off a ton of elements that were just they're noticeable.
I'm gonna say it was him paying homage,
Okay.
but if there is a history of him consistently paying homage to
That's what I
Spike
heard.
Jonze,
Yeah.
then it gets to a point where, yeah, dude, like, you need to step it up.
Especially if it's a
you're
thing
not coming with
especially
no
if
new
it's
ideas.
a thing where like he's taking these lesser known Spike Jonze works, or not even lesser known, but just like taking any of them and been using them for Taylor Swift music videos. You know, like he's just taking this thing that's like artistically, critically acclaimed and using it for the mainstream. Like, you know, that's not cool. You know,
That also, yeah, that's true. That's very true. For a Taylor Swift ad, it's a little. I keep saying ad. Sorry.
It's technically an ad, if you will.
It's an ad.
It's to promote
It's
her
promotion. Yeah,
project.
the music video. Yeah, it's a little.
I could allow you on
It was disappointing that
Yeah.
that he did that. Yeah,
Again, either way, both were cool.
but
I like both videos.
But from a director's standpoint, I get it. Sometimes there's an idea that's so dope that you kind of want to just make it not make it your own. You want to really create it through your vision.
Yeah.
And then sometimes
different
it ends
format.
up in a different format. And it ends up being a little too similar sometimes. That could happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it could have been just an accident, to be honest, in some way. Nah.
Is there any
No.
follow up to it? Like, did Mans ever make an official statement about
the
it?
man's
or
of a scrap.
I don't know. Maybe.
The man's did Spike Jonze pull
I
up
don't
on
have the
it?
time to find the director of the Taylor Swift.
Don't even find
He's
him.
an Asian guy.
It's not
I
Spike
just-
Jonze.
Huh?
It's not Spike Jonze, so it doesn't matter.
No, it's not Spike Jonze.
Jeez.
Spike Jonze is a legend.
Fuck 'em. Fuck them all.
I had a point before that was running off of what Zach said, but then Zach brought up another point,
Yeah.
Right.
and then Ian brought up a point on that. So where do we start?
Zach's point was... What was your point again, Zach?
So the first point that Zach, so the thing that Zach does sometimes is after we cut, he'll bring up this point based on everything that we talked about.
That we just talked about.
And
Yeah.
it's very engaging because he's had all this fucking time to think about it. So it's a
Fucking
very
asshole.
good point. And then we're like,
Shit.
we basically have an entire podcast segment that we don't record
Yeah,
because
the BTS.
yeah.
Between, yeah.
But what Zach said was, so somebody like Spike Jonze in this example, and this was part of my point too, is like somebody like Spike Jonze getting ripped off, even if it's like a straight up rip off by somebody like this Taylor Swift director, it's not that impactful because somebody like Spike Jonze is probably already like satisfied with where he is career wise.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas, so for example, if somebody were to rip off one of our music video ideas and then actually like make a profit off of that, that would be like,
That's a piss off.
would
yeah,
suck.
because that's the difference between stealing from somebody who's doesn't have anything and isn't like satisfied with where they are. At,
We have each other, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would just
No, that's
suck.
facts though. Yeah.
Especially if it was for
But it would
a
like
client that we could never
we've gotten
get.
like ripped off, but we haven't gotten like ripped off, and it's like, yo, that person like, you know, got like bags off of.
So
Yeah, no
part
one's
of,
gotten a
a
bag.
part of it is shitty,
but I feel
a part
like
of
it
is
might
also
happen. So
Yeah.
that's what's kind of scaring
Yeah,
me, you know.
for
and-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the point that I made about that though? It's
Our shit's so unique that it's no.
yeah. I can't remember what the
Oh.
point I made of it.
It
was
was the
something
money.
about like
It was
art.
the money.
Yeah, like
Oh.
music and music, film, graphic design.
Those are like the top three.
Those
money
ones,
makers.
yeah, they're
They
because
get
they're-
criticized the most or copied the most.
They get criticized the most because they're the
Yes.
most like influenced by money.
Yes.
So it's like,
So
but
money,
That's the,
yeah.
that's the thing too. Is like from as a musician. So if me as a musician, I look at stand-up comedians, writers, painters, dancers, actors. All is like though that's taking a fucking risk because the I don't know how like the way you could take control of your success seems so much more based on luck than
Yeah, that shit's
us
scary.
as musicians. At least we have YouTube, SoundClouds,
Yeah.
Spot. You know what I mean?
There's
Like,
there's no YouTube for
yeah,
painters.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could. Yeah.
So Ian's
I know
point,
what you're saying.
yeah. So Ian's
yeah.
point is that like those professions, those arts, they seemingly take less criticism
Yeah.
than film.
I feel like I
Yeah.
think not everyone's like looking at their work and ripping it apart or judging it constantly. A lot of people, but then when it comes to because the main three we were talking about are motivated by money.
Yeah.
that gotta make sense then.
Yeah, because
If
there's
you say
more.
that.
There's literally there's more on the line because there's more of like society involved. Like there's
Right.
less of an audience for these
Right.
the visual art paintings and stuff like that. But those people who care about it, they're not focused on money. But it's this weird thing where if you can get to a point in your career as a painter where you're like, okay, I'm good enough to dedicate myself to becoming a full-time painter, you can sell your art for $500, $1,000 coming out of university, you know what I mean? Whereas we're still selling our music for 99 cents.
Yes.
And we consider ourselves full-time musicians or full-time filmmakers, and you guys are still charging the base rate. You know what I mean? Which is, it's like,
It's just
it's this weird thing because it's like, I guess there's less people doing it, but that's because it seems like there's less of a chance of being able to make it. So that's why the people who do get to that, it's like a weird thing where like the successful filmmakers and stuff and the successful painters or whatever, they might make the same amount of money, but because I guess there's like less, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, just because there's less of a mainstream audience, I guess, that are
that not as many people are invested.
Yeah, because
in
the richest painter is the richest painter because he sold like 10 paintings at $10 million
in his lifetime. He's sold maybe those 10 paintings over 30 years.
Exactly.
Jeez, yeah.
Whereas, you know, like the most successful artist had to sell 1 billion fucking albums or whatever.
They
You know
had
what
to
I
sell
mean?
a lot of albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
to
there's
build
more
their
people,
wealth up,
the most successful movie of all time had to have 1 billion people go watch it or something.
In a weekend or
Yeah,
something
you know what
like
I
that.
mean. So that's the difference. Is there's more criticism because there's more eyes, right?
Right. I don't know much about like visual art painting, but I always feel like the greatest painters, like it's almost like they don't make a bad piece. Like every piece is looked at as good. Meanwhile, like you could be some of the best musicians, still making the audience and the viewers' eyes as a bad song. You know what I mean? So I always feel like, I feel like artists, filmmakers, and musicians, they just kind of get that
That's like
negative criticism.
I think that's
way
part
more.
of like how much we're exposed to it too. Because you know, like somebody like I don't know, Basquiat or something. We might have seen like I might have seen 10 of his best works in his life, but I've never seen like what would be considered a shitty Basquiat work just because we weren't a part of that culture. Whereas it's so much easier to get access to these bad movies and these bad films and these bad songs and stuff because it's so much more accessible on like online and stuff. You know?
But also the reason why it is accessible is because it's cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If I want to go see some Basquiat pieces, I have to
go to a gallery.
I have to go to the gallery. I have to pay the gallery.
Or buy it.
And
it's
then
one of a kind. So you
if
gotta
I want a Basquiat piece, however, how much hundreds of thousands or whatever it costs.
Yeah, I get it.
The only people that are gonna buy that one piece are the people that actually have the money for it.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
But is that a problem? Like what are we gonna do? Are we gonna start charging more for fucking movie tickets?
Facts.
You know what I mean? Are we gonna start charging more for music? Like, there's people like Nipsey Hussle that. Well, how much was he charging? Like fucking $100 or something like that for his mixtape or his album.
Yeah.
He was able to do that, and that's because he was confident in what he was putting out there. But how many other people can actually say, like, imagine Kevin dropping Tropic and being like, the only way you guys are going to be able to listen to this is if you swing me like $75.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even watching the Wu-Tang documentary and when they were talking about that $1 million album that they were trying to put together.
Yeah.
When you watch it, it's like, it's funny because it was RZA's idea and he got I can't remember the other guy's name from like Egypt or whatever, but it wasn't anybody else's on Wu-Tang's idea. And so they were roasting it the whole time. Mm-hmm. But like, when you think about what they were trying to do with it, it's like try and create this. It's the same thing you're talking about. They were trying to create this art piece that could be kind of seen as like as on par with like, and because if any group could do it, it'd be Wu-Tang who could actually produce this musical piece that could be valued as much as it turned out. Yeah, it turned out that a dirtbag bought it. You know. Yeah. But that's what.
But how many? You know. Yeah. The dirtbags have the money a lot.
Yeah.
Of the time.
I'm pretty sure most people who own Basquiats and shit are dirtbags too. You know what I mean? Like it's probably
they're the type of people where you walk into their house like, yeah, I own that.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I bought that.
Yeah.
The people who buy the fancy, super priceless paintings and shit. I mean, unless I see it as an investment part, which I get it. Like, I think Jay-Z owns a lot of art. He has like a good amount of his investment is actually in art.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, art as an investment is super risky. You don't know where the fuck it's going. Like, it could go up and down. Like, it's just weird. I don't even understand how that shit works exactly.
Yeah, I get
But then there's those people who just buy it just to say they have it.
People appreciate the shit.
Flex on it, but
like I'd love some pieces, you know what I mean? I'd love to spend some money.
Yeah,
on some shit, but I don't got that.
I'm not talking about like one of a kind pieces, but definitely would like to fill a house.
I
with
guess that's
local
part of it
art.
too. Is
that'd be sick.
like though, like painting and stuff. They cater to a rich, like demographic or whatever. So they're
Facts.
Man's got it.
Yeah.
Facts. I always thought like, how do you guys feel about like art or like movies and being rated by like critics? You know what I mean? Like, how do you even feel about that? Is it just like unfair depiction of art, like
art or
whatever, like of a movie or whatever? Like,
art's such a big fucking word.
Does that?
I know what you mean.
I shouldn't use art. How about? Here's a better question. Do critics, first off, do they influence you a lot?
Oh, do they influence me?
Yeah. Like if you see a bad review on an album or are you just not
I would
gonna
say
listen
a little bit, but at the same time, a lot of the time, I'll stick to movies, for example. A lot of the time I can tell when a movie is gonna be shit most of the time.
It's true.
I can
watch
look
the trailer.
I watch a trailer.
You see the acting is not good.
Yeah, or I could see like, okay, there's just a lot of flash going on right now, or the people that are involved don't necessarily have a great track record.
Facts.
Or if it just looks shit, then most of the time I could tell when a movie's shit.
True.
And then what helps support that sometimes is if I am about to go see that movie, I don't know. I don't like to say that the critics sway me because I still do look at myself as one of those people that I can come up with my own opinion. I just do like seeing other people's opinions, but it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I wanted to go watch a movie and I go online, it's check movie times, and it just so happens I see the Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick. It's great. It's like an 85 or something like that. You know what I mean? And the critics like it. The viewers love it even more.
I'm gonna be more hyped to watch
then
it.
I might be like, oh fuck, like this is gonna be a good experience, even though I already want to see this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even sometimes I might. My girl might be like, oh, can we see this movie? And I'll tell her it's going to be shit. And she's like, oh, no, let's see it. And I'm like, yo, pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's running at like,
it's
running at 20%.
Bro, if that shit's under 25%, I don't watch it.
Bro,
like, unless there's an actor in there I really want to see for some
Yeah.
fucking reason. Or I want to just waste time.
Yeah,
whatever.
man, because
I'm not paying to see it. I'll watch on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay to see it.
So like, it's a tough one. Like, I don't think it sways me, but it just helps, if you will, confirm.
Like if you have good
my
taste,
thoughts.
it's pretty accurate. Like Rotten Tomatoes is mostly like I'm pretty like when even though the ratings is like if you think about it, like something's 85%, all that means is like 85% of people gave it over a 6 out of 10 rating, which is not like that doesn't mean it needs to be a great movie, but most of the time it's like if it's at 85%, I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed the movie then. You know, and if it's like a 30%, I'm probably not gonna want to watch it. And if I do, it's like, yeah, it is usually shit. There are cases where there's a movie that got like 90 something and I watched it and I'm like, yeah, it's not that good.
It wasn't that great.
Yeah. And there's been times where there was like a movie that's like 50 and I'm like, yeah, I like it because guess what? 50-50 means, you know, like some people like it, some people hate it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes the
But for the, like most times it's accurate. Like, you know.
It is, Sometimes sometimes the really good movies, like on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, like they're boring. Like sometimes, like, the Oscar
some people.
film.
Some
I think
people don't
it's
get
just usually not written for us.
Yeah.
Like 20-something-year-old males. It
But
probably
that's the thing
wasn't
too
written
is
for
like
us.
so they
Like,
have the critic rating review and then they have the user review, and that tells you a lot too. It's you have to take the numbers for like what they mean to you, because I look at
more
the percentage, I look at the average rating, I look at the critic review, and I look at the audience review, and like you have to like
I
balance
trust the
all of it.
audience more than I trust the critics, because critics can just be fucking assholes.
Yeah.
sometimes.
But us saying that it's accurate, like a lot of people, it's not, because they don't even understand what a good movie is. And we were
I
talking
mean, that's
about that
yeah.
off the podcast.
Yeah.
People not understanding what
That was the
what's
other
qualities.
That was
of
the other point I wanted to bring up
Yeah,
was like the idea of like, so if somebody were to steal our video, for example, let's say they wanted to steal the With Raw video, which you could go check out.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
If you as soon as you watch it within the first 5 seconds, you understand that there's a certain thing that we have going for it. Where if you were to try and take inspiration from it, it would seem like
Mans
you're
would
basically
know.
stealing.
Yo,
you're stealing the entire.
You really
video,
can't fucking like.
Yeah.
Like,
But the other point to be made about that is so that maybe we'll get into it on the podcast. Maybe because we said we want to talk about like the making of some of our videos and stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe
we'll do that.
that could be a good topic.
we can go into that later.
But basically, the process. So, and I think it was something that we all knew going into it too. Was like with this video, the people who know film would be like, "Wow, like that must have taken a lot of time. Like there was so much effort. Like because they would know they don't know exactly what we did to do it, but they know that whatever we did would take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then there's people who maybe I guess the general public sometimes they just don't there's just a discrepancy in like how they understand like how films are made. Like for as somebody who feels like I became an artist like when I was like 18 or 19 or something. So like earlier in my like high school and stuff, like I wouldn't consider myself an artist. I would just consider myself a consumer or whatever. I still felt like I appreciated certain things, like because I knew that there's things that were being done in film or music or whatever that it's like that had to have taken time, even though I have any concept. Like I don't even know what like movie editing thing software looks like, but I'm like that had to have taken like, and there are people like that too where like I know they have no idea of like what film is, but they're like
I think
connoisseurs of film or whatever.
I think one thing is once you start making films, then you understand too.
But yeah, and I think there are people who like even without making films, they would still be able to understand. But then most people, for some reason, they just don't understand that like that process of like
these two things together equal this. No, like goddamn, we should do a breakdown of fucking film, like just like one scene.
I guess that's one of those things where it's like
what the fuck's going on.
Sometimes things just look so easy that like you don't think that a lot of effort would have went into going into making it, and that's like a good thing sometimes, you know. When,
it is a good thing, I would say, but a lot of the time I feel like it's taken for granted.
Just whip up a video like sicko mode, you know. It's easy.
But like, so for example, with the raw video, like the people who are like, "Yo, your eyes are moving," and like, "Yo, your mouth is moving," I'm like, thank God, like somebody picked up on that, because that's the whole fucking point of the video. You know? But most people who watched it,
bro,
were just
they
like,
didn't take
"Oh
it
wow,
in.
cool!"
They're like, "Cool,
yeah,
bro. It's moving back and forth."
Yeah.
Tamir, he appreciated it. He's one of the people that appreciated the video, and like I don't even know if he's a filmmaker, but I think he has a better understanding.
He's gotten into it recently. Yeah.
That would be an example of somebody who I would say is like. And me too. I would consider myself in the same kind of class as him, as somebody who doesn't work in film necessarily, but like they understand.
And you've been around filmmakers enough, and
And
I think you mentioned it. Like as an artist, you should definitely try to consume.
That was
other
that was the point I was getting to. Is that like
that
as an artist, you should be familiar, especially the basic things. Is like if you're a musician, you should know how music videos are made. How much they cost, what goes into it, the type of hours, because. If you want people to respect you for what you do, like you gotta be like, hey, I'm putting this much, like I know how much time I put in for free. I don't know how, like I don't want to count it, but like I know how much free time I put into my work, so I know how much free time you guys have put into your work as filmmakers. And it's just you start from there, then you understand it's like how much little time you spent just like researching other material, like that's time that like you have to appreciate that every other creative person is putting into as well. So you have to respect their process.
And you know what's funny? You see that in certain artists that they have the understanding of film down because of the way their music videos are and how like how like well done their videos are. Like for like artists like Kendrick and Tyler the Creator and stuff like that. Like Vince Staples, you can see that they understand the director and side of things in the film. They almost direct their videos sometimes. Like they understand film that well. Maybe they just like grew up with movies too.
Tyler the Creator is more.
He's a movie buff type of artist.
But I think we should hold all artists to that standard, because think about how much money we're giving these big artists. Like think about how much their net worth is. Like any of your favorite artists, they're worth more than $10 million probably, you know? And it's like, when you have that much money, you have a responsibility to like, I hope you're putting in more work than I am if you're worth more than $10 million. You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
If you're worth that much money, you should be putting in that much amount of work. And we should hold them to that standard where it's like, they should be knowledgeable in not just everything that and it's something it's weird where it's like, us as creatives, that's how we operate, but for some reason other people don't operate like that, and it's not even just the artists who are at fault. It's the public who don't hold artists to that obligation to like be that well-rounded of an artist. You know, like we should expect that from the people that we're giving this. How much fucking money you're spending? Like $100 to see this person, and you
sick
know
visuals, fam.
Yeah, you know you're like one of 20,000 people in a concert theater, like paying $100 to see this person, and you don't care if they like even know how to read music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like, come on, man, like
Read music. That's
yeah.
good.
Like I don't think you need to read music to be a musician, but
No.
I think if you get to that level, you should.
There's a point where you should start expanding your knowledge.
You're
Exactly.
making
in the field that you're
millions a
in.
year off being a musician. I
Yeah.
think you should start to know how
Yeah.
to read music, like a music sheet.
It's people,
Like me reading a script.
and I totally get when artists or creatives are just starting and they're figuring stuff out. But it
Yeah.
comes to a point where if you're doing this and you're saying that you are a photographer or you are a videographer, but there's like, for example, there's like so many photographers that I know that just they don't technically even know how to use.
They
their
don't know
camera.
ISO. They don't
Here's
know.
the thing,
Yeah.
though. I think
It's like, yeah,
because
I'm a
it's-
photographer, and they have photographer in their bio,
was
and
about
they
to
don't
say-
even know
Yes.
how to shoot.
They don't
manual,
know
you
what the fucking f-stop is.
Yeah,
But I think because of social media has made it like that, where it's been so easy to label yourself as a
Yeah.
photographer, musician.
Yeah.
I'm sure
artist.
that's how even like models feel about these fucking Instagram models walking on
Exactly, yeah.
runways.
like the real models that are at an agency and they do ads for Vogue and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have Instagram models who are Instagram models.
and it's just as they're popular, but now these bitches are walking on the runway at Fashion Week.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While we should have the actual models that are signed,
put in
that
the time,
have put in
yeah.
their time. They have molded their bodies to look a certain way. They have, you know what I mean? They have put in the time, the hours in their walk, this and that. They should be the ones walking.
Like any model that was popping before Instagram was a thing, I feel bad for them because I don't think they were able to catch up to Instagram.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Like I know I've seen some models that are really well known. They just don't even. They have like 2,000 followers on Instagram. Like, they don't have a popping Instagram.
No, I mean, we can
But,
empathize too. Like
but they make a living off modeling. They don't need Instagram.
we can empathize as
That's what's
musicians who technically we started music before Instagram, but like there are certain things that musicians who are coming out now are doing that are shortcutting a lot of things that even we did, and we shortcutted a whole bunch of shit too because we had access to SoundCloud and shit when we started.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
like
I don't know. You need to, if you're gonna be here doing this shit, do it.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the simplest terms, like fucking do it. Like you learn all the shit that you gotta learn. Like
Yeah.
there was even a time, like I'll even say to myself, like for me, even when I was starting out doing videos and when I started telling people that I was a video guy, I didn't know half the shit about like newer cameras, and whatnot. But I started to learn about it, and then when I started to move away from being an actual videographer, I was like, I am now comfortable knowing, okay, like at least I have this information. I can have a conversation with somebody. If I am working with a DP or something like that, we can talk.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? A lot of people can't talk with other people on their crew and their team and stuff like that about actual technical things.
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to say is there's just so much more to learn that you just need to learn.
There's a
And I
lot.
think the thing
like,
too,
bro, like
You got to appreciate every part of
There's
everything
so
that
many
you're
things
doing.
to
and I think
learn.
the other angle of it too is like, as a
Yeah.
musician, I love just drawing from like things other than music. Like I like learning from other things because you start to see how everything is connected. Because it's not. I feel like we've talked about this
Just
before,
like
but it's not the same. It's not the same exact words, but it's the same language. Like the way that you create. It's everybody in any art, it's all about building that story. So everybody is using their own tools to do the same thing. So you can find communication lines between there, and you can be like, that's why for me, I feel like it's so much easier to appreciate or understand somebody's art form because it's like, yeah, I
know mine.
Yeah, I know mine. So I know exactly what, I don't know exactly what you're doing, but I know how you're doing what you're doing because it's the same process as what I'm doing.
And a lot of time when I work with other creatives, I don't even give them a hard time.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I don't even ask sometimes like when stuff's going to be due. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm sure you have other client stuff going on right now. I'm sure you have a life.
Exactly.
So let me just let you do your thing and I'll check in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'll just see, any updates, anything? I'm one of those people that just is going to leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to other creatives, let's say when we do like music videos for our clients, let's say they want something like Withdraw. or Make Me Move.
Yeah.
They expect us to whip that up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They expect us. They expect us to be able to just do another one of those. Like, can I have my video to look exactly like that?
And maybe in their head they might think that makes them look like proactive or something. But like, no, that makes you just look dumb because you don't know how long it takes to actually do something like this. You know?
Yeah. Especially us, because we're just like small time. Like,
Yeah.
I understand. Yes, a Drake video would get produced in like
a
less
Drake
than
video
10
can
days.
get a Drake video can get done in a week, in a couple days, because it's Drake. This shit needs to be out.
We got people like staying up like 82 hours straight, like
doing
that shit.
Or even even working with, again, being in the field of music videos and stuff like that. When we have artists, and again, I'm subtweeting a lot of people, but oh well, it's like when you drop a song, but you haven't even thought, maybe I should, since I've already made my song, I should hold on to it for a second before I drop it. Even though we always tell you drop your shit, but like, if you're gonna drop your shit, you have to think about how you're gonna drop your shit as well. So a lot of the time, we have a lot of artists that just made a song. They're like, okay, we're putting it out. Thank you for dropping your shit, boys. Appreciate it. But then next week they're hitting us up. Yo, I need a video. Can I get it a week after? Can I get it in 2 weeks?
Yeah. Nah, yo, plan.
But I want it to look like a movie.
Yeah.
And I only have $500.
That's a huge, like, the idea that you can capitalize on this like momentum,
this
of,
moment.
Like, it's like no, we can get this video popping and it'll be done. Like, no, like, you have to have the video.
Plan your release, man.
Everybody has their videos finished way before their singles come.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, okay, you finish recording a song. If you want a video for that single, you should be at least in pre-production before releasing the song.
Yeah.
Right, or even have the song the video almost done before releasing the song. Right, so the week that song dropped, we're shooting.
I feel like a lot of the guys that are making the music and doing stuff like that, they just look at their favorite artists and just think that all that shit just appeared in a couple weeks. Like, what, like a Rick Ross video, a Rick Ross album has been worked on for years. You know what I mean? And the videos he worked on last year, now they're rolling the shit out. That's why you're just hearing the single and they have the video next week. That's the reason why. A lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've planned all this stuff out. There
are instances where they do produce videos 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. But again,
you're dealing with a budget of like how many 100,000? And
I could do that for you.
Whole ass team, like making like hundreds an hour doing it. Then I get it.
Yeah, no problem.
Money motivates.
I can get you your music video. I can get you your music video next week, but I need 40 racks.
Yeah.
like
which you can hire a team to create it in a week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is fine.
You need to be able to back, if you want something like that, you need to understand what the other creatives that you're getting involved in your work have to do as well.
Yeah.
You have to understand the time that goes into it. You have to also understand mans have lives. Like,
because if there is a case where, let's say you heard that one of your favorite artists made a video in like 2 days because that song started popping, that's because they had like $1 million to work with.
They had $1 million.
So they paid like 20 people to work like 48 hours straight. And that's how that video got done.
And all those people got paid and went home and were able to feed their families.
Yeah.
And listen, we don't shoot like simple hood videos that you can shoot in 2 hours and edit in 5 hours, because there are those videos which you can technically whip up in 2 days.
Totally.
But that's those videos which I just described, shoot in 2 hours, edit in 5 hours. Our videos are not like that. Hell, it takes us 8 hours to make the fucking concept.
Fuck, it takes me fucking 2 days to fucking encode all your fucking footage.
Yeah.
and fucking what is this shit called? I can't remember the word right now. When I have to fucking
proxy.
Yeah, proxy. Thank you.
Proxy that shit.
Yeah, it takes me like I have a trash computer. It takes me 2 days already out of the week or 2 weeks.
That's because we're shooting on cinema cameras and C300s and stuff like that.
We're shooting on fucking Reds, and I'm editing on a MacBook Air.
We're not shooting on 5Ds. We're not shooting on 5Ds.
Like a whole
A7S.
tutorial on.
That's what we're trying to do. Like, that's what we're trying to do. So we could just show mans, this as easy as we make it look. It's not that easy. We just make it look easy because we actually care about this shit.
We're not pros at it.
Yeah.
I'm a pro.
And like reveal all the
I don't know about you guys.
Reveal all the secrets too, like how much this shit costs. So like how much if
Yo.
it's this camera and this shit, like how much that should charge.
Man,
you know?
subscribe
Like,
to the
fuck,
YouTube channel, yo.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that's the type of stuff we're gonna be dropping.
We're
soon.
dropping some real ass tutorials.
Yeah, some
Shit
real
that-
fucking tutorials for you guys.
Some shit like how did mans make a $500 budget which was worth like $50K?
That made no sense.
How did wait what?
You fucked up. You had it coming. I believed in you for a second
Yeah.
there, and you fucked
How
up.
did we shoot a video for 500
Yes, dollars.
when the value of that video was closer to 20K?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Proud of you.
Sorry, it's the end of the night. It's like 1 a.m.
All right. Yeah, we're back.
We just had some more stuff to say on that. Because Zach, of course, came to us with
Yeah,
the bars.
yeah, the exact same thing happened.
We're
yeah.
getting Zach a mic over there, yo.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on camera if you don't want. You just like if you can.
Just
I don't
flip
care.
that
Do
mic
whatever
the
you
other
wanna
way,
do.
yo.
Yeah, use that mic. That is the fucking Kobe.
Get you a little mic over
But
there.
yeah, what we wanted to get into is just going back off of that. What we were just talking about is the importance in again just knowing your craft. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Just knowing your craft. Like for example, for I know a lot of guys that are here that are shooters and just don't watch films.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, or haven't watched films a lot of the time, or just don't even watch other fucking music videos or anything. But they have a great eye.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
They're talented, but your talent is not going to take you everywhere. Like fuck your talent, bro. A lot of the time it's about your actual work ethic and what you're actually willing to put in
Yeah.
to being better.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
And I feel like a lot of that work ethic comes. It's not just like I feel like a lot of people think like, okay, to be a musician, I just gotta put in like all this, put in work in the studio, like whatever, how many hours a day, like. Yeah, but you're gonna run out of fuel so quickly, and it's like you're not learning anything new if you're just like putting yourself in the same thing. I feel like when I started, that's what I was doing. I just kind of kept going in, like I wasn't doing too much of the YouTube stuff, or I didn't really have a mentor or like school or anything like that. But you know, doing work at the library, doing the youth program that we do, it's interesting seeing the people that we have, where they're in a position where like where I was like 4 years ago, where they clearly have the talent, but it's like it's weird having to tell somebody the same thing that somebody should have told me, where it's like, yo, just round out your skills, because like no matter what, like you're gonna need them no matter what.
Need it.
If you think you're gonna do this full time, guess what? You can't not know the basics of mixing in theory when you're 50 years old or whatever. If you still think you're gonna be a full time musician at that point, that's just not how it works. Like you have to learn the tools of the trade. Like that's it.
Yeah, even me, like even and again, I'm making music. I'm not even making that music like that serious. Like we're putting money into this shit. We're dropping stuff all the time, but it's like at the same time for me, when it comes to 750 stuff, it's a hobby. At the end of the day, we're nasty, but it's a hobby. You know what I mean? But what I always do and what I always have done when it comes to anything, any craft, especially when it comes to the arts, I always go back. And I hate to sound like, yo, you got to look up, you know, the old heads and blah, blah, but you really do.
You
like,
have to. Yeah.
You actually have
go
to.
back
Like,
to kinda-
you have to understand
Yes.
where this stuff came from.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like this
So-
shit didn't just appear.
Watch some old music videos.
Watch some old shit.
films,
Listen to some old music. It might not be your shit, and that's totally fine. Like I'm not a big '90s hip hop guy.
No, but there's documentaries like Hip Hop Evolution and shit that really explain how the connection between what we
There's
do
connections,
now. Because I
yes.
didn't like. There's so much shit, like I didn't know. I knew that like I wanted to know what the connection was between how hip hop started and like how it influenced how we start, like how it
Exactly.
influenced us
Yeah.
and how we transitioned ourselves into rappers and stuff. And it's like there is a connection there, and you just have to find it, because if you don't, like you're just doing yourself a disservice, because you're like cutting yourself off from this greater connection that you have to your community, you know?
Like me, I love trap music.
Yeah.
I love me some good old ignorant music.
Yeah.
You know, let's pull up on the block. Let's spray the whole block up, the whole gang. But at the same time, I understand where that shit came from.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
today, I was bumping fucking Nas. You know, I'm not even a big Nas guy, but I was just like, yo, let me hear Hate Me Now. Let me listen to that right now. You know what I mean? Let me bump some Gangstar. You know what I mean? And that's what I was bumping today. I was just in a great mood. But I understand the reason why I'm able to pull up those tracks and appreciate them for what they are is because I went back and I was like, you know what? I need to kind of know where this shit's coming from because I'm listening to this music and I love it, but what was it like for other people? Or like, why do I need to appreciate it so much more? And it makes you appreciate it that much more because you're like, damn, like there's so much history to what I'm doing right now. Even if no one is really listening, like I'm part of this story when it comes to music, when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to films, like,
and that's the
I'm
thing
watching
too.
old shit too.
The more I read on anything, the history of anything, it doesn't matter. I'm like, wow, I'm literally following in the exact same footsteps of everything that, the same things that inspired these things that created these movements in any art, hip hop, whatever. I'm like, wow, like I'm doing the exact, my motivations, they come from different places because I'm a different person, but they're the same. It's the same emotions that go into why you do the same thing. So when you learn about like my last thing, Tropic, was based on like this 70s or 60s movement in Brazil, you know, that like I had no connection to. And then I learned about it and I'm like, fuck, like this is the exact same thing that I'm doing, but it's like completely different. But you bring together these completely different ideas in a way where you're like, what art, you know, it tells the same stories at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. Like I'm able to bump Radiohead.
Yeah.
And still I could listen to something off of In Rainbows and then bump my Chief Keef. But I look at it all as the same thing.
Exactly,
like, you know what I mean? Like without Radiohead, I wouldn't have been able to bump my Chief Keef because at the same time, people don't see it aligning, but it does. At the end of the day, it's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always a history and stuff to music. Or even, like I was watching this, I watch a lot of anime, for example, and I watch a lot of anime, and then one of them I was watching today while these guys were doing some fucking work was Dr. Stone. Quick, just summary of it is it's basically what happens is there's this dude. No, basically what happens is the world turns to stone. Everybody in the world turns to stone, right? And one day, this scientist, he's the first person to basically break out of the stone. And what he does is he basically has to find out a way to catch back up to where we were
Holy shit.
last time in history. It's been over 5,000 years, basically. So I'm watching the show and you think, okay, whatever, it's just this fucking anime, and that's why Ian's dying. But I'm watching the show and it makes you appreciate the shit that people were doing like back in the day. Like these guys have to figure out how to make glass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they need glass so that they can work on chemistry to help get this girl that's sick just a fucking pill. They're basically just trying to make an Advil
Isn't
for
that
her.
fucked that like people used to figure out that next
That's
shit?
what it
when mans
is.
can't even figure out how to get somewhere without a GPS.
That mans are hitting you up. You'll send a man a location, and he'll be like, "Yo, how do I get there?" But you can't use Google Maps.
Yeah.
Yo, you have,
But that's
Google
what I
and
mean,
You
like,
still don't know how to get there.
It shows like that show is. It kind of just gave me an appreciation
Meanwhile,
for
you have
holy
people
shit. Like
writing
we've come from
books
so
about
much.
philosophy
That's kind of
when
that's kind of a point that I've
can't
been
get
thinking
that
about
shit,
a
yeah.
lot, where it's like we I think we tend to think about like, oh man, like people like to dismiss the fact like, oh, technology has made civilization so much better now, but like it's pretty easy to see, you know, that like civilization is always just gonna be relative. Like I don't care that I live here. Like I don't think that because this feels like the most present moment in our society that it's the best moment. No, I don't. I would much rather live anywhere. Not that I would much rather, but it's just like I don't give a shit about what time period I lived in, because at the end of the day, there are always idiots and there are always smart people.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's just the different things that we had. It was the different tools, but
right.
there's always been the same amount of intelligence. Like, yeah, maybe our brains expanded a little bit, but like, you know.
Mans are still stupid.
There's always been that like level of intelligence. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like there's always that person who had a high IQ, maybe just didn't have like iPhones or whatever to accomplish certain tasks or whatever.
It's funny, like
I get it. Yeah.
Like listening to like certain things or something, you'll hear about like you hear like, oh man, imagine if Einstein or Newton, they lived today, like with the tools that we had, imagine what they'd be able to accomplish. But we never talk about like, imagine if this average person lived 1,000 years ago. Guess what? They would still be an average person,
They'd
right?
still be an average person and probably even more fucked.
So it's like, why do we like to pick out the fact that like, oh, imagine if this Newton from 500 years ago, we put him in today's time, he would make these great achievements. It's like,
Do you know that though? Like,
That's-
Exactly. It's all
but
these
that's the thing too.
hypotheticals.
It's like, so there's always going to be, great minds coming out of every time period or whatever. And there's always
Right.
going to be dumb minds coming out of every
Yeah.
time period. Why do we have
Stupidies.
to? Yeah. Why do we have to talk about both? Like, because that's just how it is. Like, we can't. It's a weird thing when people
guess you're right.
like a dumb person now thinks that they might be smarter than somebody like 1,000 years ago. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's hard to say.
Not
Like you could
necessarily.
say
Yeah.
like the person who invented glass. I don't know who the fuck it was. Whoever that person.
The person
was,
who invented,
that
like, the
nowadays
wheel.
is.
You know what
whoever
I mean?
What'd you say?
the person who invented the wheel, which
wheel.
was like a caveman probably, but
But
that's like,
that
you know what
could
I
be-
mean?
Shouts
Like,
out
That's
that
the like the 21st century version is like Mark Zuckerberg inventing Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah, if you will.
It could be like that. That's just
Yeah.
That's what we're now.
Or even the
Those
one,
are the geniuses.
Yeah. Mhm.
What are they creating with
the one thing
technology.
that's like
get
interesting
it.
to me is like how I remember reading this thing about writing, how that used to be considered a technology because there was a time period
Yeah.
that we remember in humanity when like writing didn't exist, so people just had to remember shit off top. Like Homer's Iliad was like, there was never written down. Like those guys just remembered that shit off top, like off dome. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
off
it's
the
like
dome.
that's a different level of intelligence. Even though those guys were living 3,000 years earlier than us, it's like it's like that's a completely different way of thinking that we even now, like the difference between us, I feel like we have less of a connection to like poems, books, things like that because we have TV and record like technology, right? So it's like it's not that we're dumber, but for some reason we don't think of that. But like the fact that people read books more back in the day is because that was the only form of entertainment that people had. You know what I mean? And it's not that, but now books seem like something that's makes you more intelligent, but it's
Not
It was
necessarily.
the only form of
Yeah.
like consuming
kinda
information
goes-
besides word of
it kind of
mouth.
goes back to the point
right?
that you made about how
So-
you judge Radiohead and Chief Keef on the same plane. It's like
Yeah.
I judge a book and a movie on the same plane because if the artist treats it with the same level of respect, then it's the same.
Same
There's
shit.
the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, man, I appreciate what you got out here, yo. Yeah, my man, Dr. Stone helped me, yo.
Yeah,
I was sitting here like, fuck, yo. These guys got to make soap. I don't even know how to make soap.
exactly.
But they have to go find the
Just
raw
buy that
materials.
shit
I feel like
You just
everybody's-
go out and you buy
Just go to
it.
No Frills and
Man's
buy
had
it.
to go and they're chipping at stones and
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like
I feel like everybody's had this
sucks.
thought though. Like, like imagine you got thrown into a deserted island or whatever. Like we live in a time where we know electricity exists, but you could stay in a desert island for like 80 years and you probably would never figure out how to create electricity.
create it.
Doesn't that suck?
That's wild.
And we live in a time period where it's like we've been 100 years removed from this shit existing and we don't know how it works.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like we should, at our civilization, we should know, like if we ever got stranded on a desert island, we'd be
That'd
able to
be
create a
Yeah,
computer.
I could be like, okay, I could do
Yeah.
this. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
could
You just
create-
rub
yeah.
two sticks together.
I don't know what the fuck
That's
I'm
not how it
doing.
works.
All I know is I'm gonna try to stay calm for as long as possible. I know how to start a fire.
Yeah.
I can
So that's the thing. So
grab some fish.
when you look at it in that when you look at it in that way, we're no more equipped than somebody who got stranded on a deserted island like 100 years ago, 205. You know what I mean?
If anything, that's a good point. You take,
And they're probably better equipped because
you
they
take
have
me
more
and
survival
you take
instincts.
someone
Yeah.
from several hundred years ago who didn't have any of this technology. You put us both in stranded. Who's gonna survive longer? You know what I mean? Like
It's the
dude
person
who
from
lived
100 years ago.
fucking 800 years
Yeah.
ago is gonna live
Because they're better.
longer.
Yeah,
They're better equipped.
Because
Yeah.
They're ready. They're about this life.
That's
yo.
hilarious.
Man, but that's again.
But then again,
it
you
just
put them
goes
over
back.
here. I mean, it'd be funny to. It's impossible, but if you take someone 800 years ago, put an iPhone in their hands, see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
True.
What are they gonna do with an iPhone? you know
But
what I
that's-
mean?
And that goes to show like what is the actual value of the iPhone towards us is like
Yeah.
how much do we use it to actually enrich our lives or our human intelligence, you know? Because we don't, because technically every person in the world, most people in the world have access to infinite knowledge at their fingertips at all times, and still we're like dumbasses though.
That's why you guys need to simply, when it comes to your craft, just go back, bro. Go back, figure out where the hell this shit came from. I know a lot of you are painting on canvases and can't even make one. So let's get it, man. Like, like you know what I mean? Man's don't even know how to make paint. Like, I don't know how to make no paint.
I
Exactly.
just go to fucking.
But if I was a
Michael's.
painter,
you were in a
if I
situation
was a
where you need to
painter,
make
I
some
would go
paint.
back and I would look up how to.
Yeah,
you know,
man, because
yeah.
you're out here buying all this paint. You think it's easy, but if you were in a situation where, fuck, I need to make some fucking ping. A lot of you niggas can't do that.
Yeah.
This is a Lost and Talks podcast.
Shit.
The most lit podcast past Kennedy Road. Thank you for listening.
It's been a great episode.
Been a good episode.
Yes.
Last week's episode was, it wasn't bad, but it was just like, men were just chill, a little tired.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we came back hard this week.
True.
No, don't jerk off over there, Zach. But yeah, yo, thanks for listening again. It's your boy Jamal. We got Ian over here. Kevin.
What's up?
This guy said "What's up" at the end.
What's up?
Wait, what was that audio clip? We need to podcast.
Podcast.
I'm trying to.